You are now tapped in. Welcome to the Newocast.
That sounds so sick, yeah. Recently, like
We're rolling.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're
What's
rolling.
up?
Yeah. Newocast Ojai edition. Episode, who knows? But we're here with
2 million.
We got a new guy.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, this is
made the cut.
This is Grant Phillips. He is a journalist, drummer, UFO expert.
Cigarette smoker,
Yeah,
White Claw drinker.
Fish concert attendee, but not a Fish fan of. Well, I guess. I mean, are you a Fish fan?
I'm not like a fan with a PH, but like
Fish fan.
but like I like him now. It took me 2 shows.
How'd you get into him?
My friend Yoshi.
Oh God, dude, come on! You don't know the lore behind Yoshi.
There's a deep
He's
lore.
not listening to this podcast. We can talk shit about Yoshi.
I love Yoshi.
I kind of like him too. He's very based.
He's very fun.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
He's based.
But yeah, he's the fish head out of the crew, and so that was my first introduction. And then I have another homie, Zach, who's also a big Fish fan.
Are you like alive though?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty wiped.
What was
dude.
like the best moment from the show?
Coming out of the bathroom in the middle of the first set and like finding my way back to the crew, and then as soon as I found them, just like escalating on whatever shrooms I took and
hell
just
yeah.
being like, oh, okay. Because that's the only way to listen to Fish. If you go to a Fish show
Sober,
sober it's
you're
got to be
retarded,
like
dude.
the worst experience ever.
Yeah.
No one's sober. Where did you have good seats though?
No. Well, the thing is with the Fish show, there are seats, but nobody sits in their seats. So nobody's seated the entire time. It's just standing only.
Yeah.
And then everybody just kind of wanders through the aisles dancing and does whatever they're going to do.
Is
and,
it like danceable music though?
I mean, if you're on enough drugs, anything's danceable.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah. No, it's a vibe. It's fun.
It sounds interesting. I might be into something like that. I mean, like, I don't usually see jam bands, but like, and I usually don't love to see them like live, but I do feel like if I had like the come up right on time at that moment, it could probably be something special, you know?
Yeah, if you can time it right and hit it perfect, then you're like, I get why there are so many people here who are going to every show imaginable.
For sure.
You totally see it.
Yeah.
But everybody we were talking to, it was like there was nobody there who had seen under 100 shows.
That's
Dang.
absurd.
And you got to think, like, dude, I love a lot of people. I would never go see them 100 times.
Like I can't think of anyone I would see. I mean, even my uncle, who's like a Prince obsessed person, he saw Prince maybe like 35 times, you know, maybe 40 tops. But even then, that's like dedication. It's always crazy to me when people are like following a band that's like not big. Like it'll be like some tiny band. And they're like, yeah, I flew to Europe just to see them. You know?
Well, dude, there's this
I
band
guess
called
that's what keeps it going, though.
There's this band called Disco Biscuits that my friend who I went to Fish with was talking about. And like it was his first show, and I've never heard of them. I don't think they're that big.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on. But everybody at that show, same thing. They were like, no, this is my 45th show.
Yeah.
He was like, what?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
That's wild. That is some real dedication though, and those are like probably the best kind of fans to have if you're like that kind of artist, you know, like people who just will keep coming back.
We've got one guy, shout out Sloth22,
Shout out.
every episode taps in.
What's up, Sloth22?
We have one fan on this podcast.
We love you, Sloth22. You rock.
Big shout outs. Yeah, dude, I was thinking about that though, because all the Fish people are all on drugs. Everybody's on drugs. The whole
But they're
parking
not on
lot's
like
on
coke.
drugs.
They're on like
No, they're on everything.
Really?
Yeah, you'll get
people
all
are,
kinds
people
of
are
people.
doing like an 8-ball at
They're
a
doing
Coke.
it, dude. They're
I mean,
selling
at a-
8-balls in the parking lot. It's
Dude,
whatever
that's
you
wild.
want. But the main dude, Trey Anastasio, who plays guitar for them, is now sober, and so I gotta think like, what is that like playing for this crowd, knowing they're all fucked up here to see you, and you're living the sober life and trying to be like being sober's cool, but your entire audience is fucking
But the rest of the band
trashed.
is not sober.
No,
I mean-
I think they mostly are.
Are they
Oh.
like they're not on drugs when they're playing?
No,
I feel like
they're-
you can't really be though, because like I don't know. Like it's like a lot of people are like, oh, drugs can like make you so much better, but like sometimes it kind of makes you fucking lazy, you know? Like
If you're not in the pocket and
Right.
feeling it, everything goes south.
everyone's just like, what the fuck is this, you know?
Yeah, that's like I was telling Cliff when I saw Grateful Dead at the Sphere in Vegas. It was like all these boomers on like acid and just hella shit and like literally stumbling over in the fucking rafters, like falling and barefoot, completely barefoot in Vegas.
That's the part that fucks
And
me up. I couldn't
the
do.
best part is like they're either with their son who like they got them into Grateful Dead and it's like their grandpa was into it's like a generational thing and they're like super tight over it, or it's the exact opposite where it's like they are like going to this concert and it's all peace and love and unity and all that, and then it's like their daughter like hasn't spoke to them in 5 years.
Yep.
And they just
Yeah.
like completely like exiled themselves from their family. Like
Dude, or there's the like wife who doesn't want to be there, but the husband's
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
band,
Yeah.
and you know they're gonna fight midway
Yeah.
through the set, and like it's
Yeah.
all gonna go south.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoeless in the Sphere is kind of a move.
She
That's
was in
insane.
Vegas, dude.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They must. They have to wear shoes to get into the venue, which means they're just throwing their shoes
Just
away
throw
as
the
soon as
shoes
they
in the
walk in.
trash, like-
It's like the first step when you get in. Take them off and chuck it.
Yeah, I was pretty. I smoked like a huge like pre-roll before, and I was just thinking to myself the whole time, like coming from like a dance music background, I was like, where's the fucking drop? Like, where's the beat? Like,
Yeah.
Well, dude, the whole thing's a drop.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and then I didn't understand. Everyone started singing. They're like, flying on a mountain, and I didn't realize that was like the moment for everybody. You know.
I feel like it's like there's songs in there, but they're so like well blended in with the jamming that you have no idea when a song starts or ends if you don't know the band, you know? Like you're just like
Well, it's like it's
Like,
like
this is a 40-minute song.
It's
Yeah.
like with DJ mixes, like it's the whole point is you're not supposed to tell when the song starts or when
Yeah.
the song finishes. But it's usually like the general rule of thumb is if the bass line changes, it's a different song.
yeah.
Like, although sometimes like if you're like god tier DJ, like DVS1 or someone like that, you're blending 3 bass lines together.
I mean that's crazy
Which is
because
hard.
yeah, like more than one bass line, you are just like mudding up the
Or you know how it's a
speakers.
lot of like tonal like toms?
Yeah.
Like what's really hard to do is like you'll take a track that if you have like 3 decks, you'll have a track that has like very tonal toms that are like really subby.
Yeah.
And then another one that has toms that are more like mid-rangey, and then another track that's just a sub bass.
So you have like a little bit of split. Like
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
all in the same like band.
But the hard part is like you have to find songs where the space in between the beats, there's enough for the bass line to still like come in.
I mean, it's really important to have good like transients there, I think, so that it's like you have like like spaces between the drums and like they're clipped in just the right way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and levels probably play a huge factor in that.
Yeah, you got to
For
have
sure.
like
You
dynamics.
equal everything.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
If you slam, well, for like some styles, you can get away with slamming everything, but it's very like genre dependent.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like even if you're not slamming it all to the top, if everything's the same level and it's still balanced, that can be a really bad mix. Because that's how I used to mix. Is like I want to make sure you can hear everything and that it's all very clear and balanced. And then I like listened to it and I was like, man, there's no punch.
Yeah.
Nothing stands out. Everything is kind of there.
Like too safe.
And you just need like some like, what's it called? Like kind of like focal points, you know? Because you can't just have everything at the same volume and it just doesn't sound right, you know?
Yeah.
No, and I will say the trend I hate that was probably popular back in the day for a reason is when it's just drums on the
Oh,
left
yeah.
side and there's no right.
That's
and
just like when they first got stereo and they're
Yeah.
like, you know what, we could do this. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
this will be
there's-
tight. And then
there's like-
headphones came.
Dude, there was this whole thing. I think it was like the Beatles or someone. I think it was like George Harrison who was like, dude, I heard one of our mixes in stereo and everything sounded naked. Like it was like in mono, everything blends really nice. But then like when you split like bass hard left and guitar hard right, it just sounds like it's so isolated and just like alone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, when I was at Coachella with my grandma, we were talking about like concerts, like me and my family, and we were all like going around like, what was your first concert? And my grandma's like, my first concert was Elvis Presley.
Yo,
And then she's
that's a
like,
huge
and my
flex.
second concert was the Beatles. And I was like,
that's
all right.
so flex that nobody
Yeah.
can answer after that. That's crazy.
Yeah, she
dude,
was
could
like,
you
Dude,
imagine?
she was like front row at the Beatles. Like
what?
in the cut, dude. Like
She was screaming. She was one of
Yeah.
those girls crying,
crying
as
yeah,
they came
yeah,
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. They had to like stop touring because like nobody could hear them because people were screaming so loud. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
PA systems back then, like that's what spurred on like the invention of like better live sound systems was because like people needed to hear the fucking Beatles over the screams.
Dude,
Yeah.
the speakers at one of the stages at Coachella kept cutting out. So like Anderson .Paak went on to DJ, and it almost felt like they were fucking with him because every single song, he only DJ'd for like an hour and a half. Every single song, it would like drop and it would be like either some hip hop song or like a dance record, and then the sound would just go completely silent. And he'd be like, you could hear him like from way far away, like yelling. He's like, "Come on, guys!" Like, and then he would play another song. It would drop, and then it like constant
Damn.
mute on sound.
That's got to
like-
be like nightmare level.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
sleeping before Coachella thinking, God, if everything cuts out right now.
Yeah.
But that was the only, like, it was only that stage, and it was really only during his set. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there were sound issues on that stage for some parts of the rest of the festival, but for the most part, it was like, it felt like someone had like a vendetta against Anderson .Paak.
Somebody
That's
got
wild.
fired for sure after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
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 That kind of reminds me, wasn't it the Coachella before when Grimes had a DJ set where all of her shit got screwed up?
She like shit the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she blamed it on, like her USB wasn't formatted properly, but it's also like that's the easiest thing. That's like that's rule number one. Like
Yeah.
the whole point of DJing on a system like that is so everything's set up and you just have a USB stick and that's all you have to bring because
Yeah.
it's you just plug your music. It's your music files. Like
Yeah.
and it's like you can't DJ if you don't format it. So how like, but she said she like outsourced. Like she didn't even format her own USB, and it's like, you know what that makes me think of is when we were watching that Kanye interview, and he was like more insulted that the guy couldn't make a PDF than he was that he lost $2 million.
That's so wild, dude.
That's so fun. Dude, yeah. Who takes the responsibility for that? Is that on her or is that on her team? Or
I
is
don't
that
know.
on
I mean, if
Elon,
it was
or-
me, if it was me, I'd be like testing it like 3 or
Yeah.
4 times before
Yeah.
I went on.
You'd
you
at
know,
least
like-
do it-
like
yeah.
plug it into something.
Is there
like,
a sound check for Coachella?
I don't know.
Yeah, there is
there?
because like when I camp, that's kind of why it's fun to camp because you can hear the sound check.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
like I heard like Gwen Stefani doing her sound check last year. And then I got way too fucking hammered and I didn't see Gwen Stefani because I was back at my campsite like about to barf because I drank like
Damn.
at least half a bottle of tequila.
That'll do it, dude. Heineken tent.
Dude, I literally this year I went into the Absolute Vodka tent and I walked out of there and I like there was this punk band that I really wanted to see. It was that band that we were talking about.
The Misfits?
No, not the Misfits. It was the other one. They're more like an indie like punk band. Anyways, I was gonna see them and I walked up to the stage and I just fell face first into the grass and I just put like my eyes were open and I'm just looking at like the blades of grass and I'm listening to their set. Like
That is a Coachella experience.
it was
though.
100 degrees.
Like you didn't go to Coachella if you didn't faint and just
You
stare
didn't
at
pass
grass
out in
for
the
a
grass.
full set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's part of it.
yeah.
It's kind of a vibe, man. You get like the bass through the floor and stuff.
No, I mean, luckily I was coherent for 03 Greedo. That was like a highlight, dude. That was so sick. I'm always telling Grant about rappers, and he's like, these are like Skyrim characters, bro.
Dude, these names, I'm just, they're like, have you
Yeah.
heard of Lil Baby 3X?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, 1900 Rugrats is the one you
1900
told me about. I was like, that's a
Best,
wild
dude.
name, too.
yeah, 1900 Rugrat.
It's a good name, but
I had
it's
a
wild.
dream, dude. I had a fucking dream that I was gonna become Ojeezy's audio engineer. I was gonna become his recording engineer, and in my dream, I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you, Ojeezy. Like, I'm a big fan of your stuff." And then Lefty Gunplay came in to the same dream in the room, and then they were both like, "Yeah, we want to work with you." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I know Pro Tools. I've been doing Pro Tools for like almost 10 years." And they were like, "All right, cool. We want to like test your skills." And they sit me down and they had like 25 video tracks in the Pro Tools session.
What the fuck?
And they were like, yeah, we do everything. We record the music video first and then we do the song. and then they were like, we want to see like if you can do what we're doing. And I was like, okay, but like we're not I'm an audio. I don't do video. Like I'm not a video editor. Like
the crazy thing is there's real people who work like that. They're like, I don't know anything about this, but I got like 3 video files. Can we make a track out of it? It's like, dude,
I have 6 TikToks. Can we blend them together and make a song?
Yeah. No, yeah. I get tons of work like that, like in post-production where it's like, oh yeah, I have this film that I made and we did it all in like Windows Movie Maker.
we did it in Windows 95.
Yeah. Like, can you do audio for me? And I'm like, no.
You're like, there's no way to
No, I
save
can't.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fucked it up.
Dude, that's classic. The fucking iMovie files.
Oh,
You're
man,
just like,
dude.
dude, I can't go
Oh
through
my
these.
God. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I'm exaggerating, but like the Final Cut Pro X, I think there might be a newer version, I'm not sure. But like when they came out with like the newest Final Cut Pro, Apple did this thing where it was like all of their software, they were like, we want to focus more on a consumer market than a professional market. So they basically downgraded all of their software
Oh
to
my
be
God.
like baby version. And it was awful. Like you can't export like the files you need for audio, like post-production. It's crazy.
Dude, with Final Cut 2 now, when you export, it's always Apple files. And you
Yeah.
can
no,
do
but
like...
you gotta get compressor.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
Because compressor works with Final Cut. So like
Yeah.
if I'm rendering this show or like a DJ mix, I'll just do like send to compressor, and then I have a preset for like YouTube, like it's for like 1080p YouTube, and it takes, the reason I do it is it takes like if you have a 2-hour video, that's what, like 12 gigabytes, 15 gigabytes, like it turns that into like 7 gigabytes.
Oh, nice.
So then
yeah.
it just cuts the upload time in half.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
know?
because that can get wild. I've exported some stuff where it'll be like 28 gigs
Yeah.
and
No,
it's like
yeah.
a 4-minute video,
Yeah.
and I'm like, there's no
Dude,
way.
the thing that sucks about Final Cut is it does this thing where like it bloats your library, like then you have no storage on your fucking
Dude,
computer.
don't even get me fucking
Dude.
started.
Yeah, because you're always
because
editing shit.
I
Like,
edit a video every week on Final Cut, and I've had to get 2 external drives now over the course of like 3 months
Yeah.
just because of the library.
It bloats it.
Oh, yeah.
and it fills it with like bullshit. Like
Well, okay, perfect example is like do a clip from like a city council meeting, and the meeting will be 4 hours, and I need the 10 seconds of it. But when I drop it in, it'll save all 4 hours
Oh my
into the
God,
library.
yeah.
And so now you just have to cut everything in QuickTime outside and then drop it in, and you're like, now it's just turned into this soup of unwatchable
yeah, so like
shit.
how do you go through a 4-hour fucking meeting like and find like because you hit me up and you
That's
wanted
why
to like
that's part of my
Dude,
paycheck.
he hit me up to like RX something because
Yeah.
there was this city council meeting where someone whispered something that was like
You got a
off
hot
record.
hot mic situation.
And I went into like the spectrum and the spectral like cutting thing in RX and tried to like isolate that frequency.
Yeah.
And I still couldn't really
Well,
figure
in the
out,
first
like,
clip I sent you, I thought I sent you the clipped version of it, but instead I sent him like an 8-hour meeting, and he was like, "Bro, I'm not gonna be able to find this 3-second clip in here."
That's amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, "That's my bad, dude.
I can
I fucked that up."
I can still, if you need me, I can like RX something.
It's just
like,
it's little things like that where you get a hot mic and you go, "What did this fool say?"
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
know he's talking shit about another council member,
Yeah.
and you're like, "We gotta get it, dude.
Oh,
get the
for
clip."
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
One thing that's nice about like Pro Tools is like it doesn't have that. Well, it does have that thing where if like you don't need those files, it'll still save the ones you don't need. But you can like there's like some commands to like remove unused files and like consolidate it. And that's like the nice thing about Pro Tools. But like I haven't seen that in like other software. Like not even Ableton. I think Ableton maybe does something like that, but I haven't seen it.
Well, Pro Tools, you can like, it's easy to work from like an external drive
Yeah.
on Pro Tools, which I never do because my computer has like 8 terabytes. Was that a dog barking?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's just the sounds of
yeah.
Ojai.
Sounds of
Ojai,
Ojai,
dude.
yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah.
Ojai, everybody.
I know.
Welcome to Ohio.
I'm waiting
Yeah.
for like chanting to come out of the teepee next door.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll hear it, dude.
Yeah.
The cock shaman
Yeah, well,
chimes at like
whatever
9 o'clock.
happened with the like chicken fighting ring that you infiltrated.
Dude, this is
what?
so fun now that we're
No,
here
he
because
has-
it's
wild.
literally across the
He has
street.
stories, bro.
Oh,
like,
no way.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I've
What's
been
the
in,
update?
I've been in Ojai for a while.
I'm curious about that.
I did a 2-year stint in Ojai, then I left for Hawaii, then I
Yeah.
came back to Ojai. It got me back. Okay,
Damn.
so right across the street from where we're at, when you guys are driving in, instead of making the right on Creek Road, if you make the left,
Yeah.
there is a team of brothers who they raise chickens. And you're allowed to raise chickens, but you're allowed to raise like 10 chickens because it's a number based on how many people live at the house, which is insane within itself. But like each person can have 3 chickens. So we walked into this backyard to interview these people and go, what is the deal going on? And they had at least 250 chickens.
That was like last summer.
Yeah,
That's
It
wild.
was not even that long ago. And so we were like, okay, they're not just raising these things for breeding. And they were talking about all the shows that they do. And like, you know, there's different caliber based on how well you can breed these chickens for the right feathers to be this like genre of chicken. But then
I mean, we saw that at the Iowa State Fair.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
thing for sure.
Yeah.
But this guy has 2 large, a rooster and a hen tattooed on his neck. And we were like, there's no way. And so the conversation, like we interviewed them and they were talking and everything was kind of normal. And then it escalated to him just like justifying cockfighting out of nowhere. And we were like, okay, this is definitely a cockfighting thing.
Yeah.
But it had some valid points. He was like, our country's based on this. They used to cockfight in front of the White House. And then he started telling us a story about how Abe Lincoln got the name Honest Abe because he was an impartial cockfighting judge, which totally turned out to be legit. And like everything
That's
they were
incredible.
saying was like just this cockfighting lore.
That's wild.
And so it happens.
But like, they're how much money? Let's say you have a champion rooster. Like, what kind of money does that bring you?
It's got to be good money because
It's tax free.
there's a fine based on them having these many chickens. And so they like had to pay until they got rid of all these chickens. And so like it was like $1,000 a day.
I mean, if
Yeah.
they make enough money, that's just the overhead, right?
That's what I was
And then
thinking.
the
So
fine
I'm like,
is
it's got
the
to
cost
be
of doing business.
That's
like,
crazy.
your award-winning cock has to be at least 10 grand to pay for like this fine every month of whatever you have.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
That's wild.
Yeah, they were legendary. I totally back them. I'm like, dude, if you want to do it,
Didn't they get raided by the feds though?
Yeah,
Like,
they totally did, dude.
That's crazy, man.
Well, it was and then it became this whole dramatic thing because like animal control came in and they were like, we can't do anything. So then the cops would come in and they were like, we can't do anything. And then the feds came in and they were like, well, we could do something, but we got to send it back to animal control. And so all of this stemmed from the neighbors around them being like, these fucking roosters are just every morning screaming
yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
200
at like 5
of
in the
them.
morning. Yeah.
No, yeah. You can't keep that secret
No.
for very
You're
long.
not-
But also,
It's
like,
not
where
that
do you get an
coherent.
audience of people to like consistently come through and like wager?
Oh, dude.
I mean, there must be a consistent underground something.
Are people
for it,
driving
right?
down from like Santa Barbara to like?
The thing is, like, they were from Mexico and came here, and cockfighting is huge in Mexico. And so, like, I'm sure there are meetups of, like, every southern
probably, like, a whole
town
network, like,
across
yeah.
both countries. Because even when I was in Hawaii, I got to go to a cockfight. And, like, they were still doing it out there. And it's still illegal, but, like...
But they have a lot of chickens out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of
Yeah.
the thing. They'll get like wild ones, and they were savage. Where it's like they were the ones who would give a little cocaine and blow it
Yeah.
in the face
Holy
of them,
shit.
and then they would attach razors to the legs.
That
so
is
it's
insane.
just like you're watching knives kick everybody. I
It's
mean,
like
it's
dog
fucking,
fighting.
It's brutal.
Yeah. No, it's not like the vegans wouldn't be happy. Like
Not
yeah.
a lot of people are happy when you got
Yeah.
bloody animals running around and
No,
everybody
yeah.
But it's the
betting on
goal.
it.
How you win if it is murdered by
It
the
kills
other
the
one.
other one, yeah.
It's
to
cold
the
blood.
death.
Like
It's to the death.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then usually the people will be like, "Hey, when that thing dies, then we eat it, so it all circles back around."
We
I'm like,
drink
you
its
don't want
blood."
to, you don't want to
Yeah.
eat this testosterone-filled cock that you've been
steroid-
blowing cocaine
Yeah.
into for 6 months.
It's like steroid riddled.
That's the craziest
animal,
sentence
like-
I've heard. Like, all year.
Like, you can't be that wild with it. You know, there's a limit. But I mean, dude, the longer you talk to them, you start going like, yeah, it is a, cultural thing. It is a heritage thing. And their justification was always like, hey, these roosters want to fight. Like they see another one in a cage.
Yeah, because they're
and
miserable.
I guess there's
like-
natural tendencies
Yeah.
for them, huh?
If you put them next to each other, they're gonna fight. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I get that, but they're not gluing razors to their legs
No,
and
yeah.
snorting cocaine.
That's
That's the
crazy.
human
Yeah.
element.
Yeah. You guys did that one.
Yeah,
Right.
you started that.
Yeah.
No,
That's
but
wild.
That's Ojai. So welcome to the crew. If you want
There's
to go,
there's
kick it with
that,
him.
and then there's all the like you got to tell Cliff about when you don't have to get into the exact details, but like when you had the sniper pointed at you.
Oh
I mean,
shit.
dude, I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk
Okay,
about
fine.
fucking publicly, but like, yeah, I ran into a weird situation here where I thought it was a bit for the longest time that this dude was like being cornered by FBI agents, and I was like, oh, this is a wild person, and half of this is real, half of it's not. And then I walked into his house, and I was like, oh, this is all real. Like everything
Damn.
that you're telling me is what's actually going on. And I don't know, Ojai still.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a whole underground world in this town that's
wild.
so small, but there's
Yeah.
so much chaos.
Well, it's nicely remote. It's kind of
Yeah.
away from everything, huh? Like it's private, you know.
You can get away with a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Damn.
And then people like calling police on the fucking newspaper, like
Dude, there's always nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, there's always some weird shenanigans going on. The best was COVID, because we would like publish cartoons and shit, and then people would like show up to the office and start threatening people and being like, I'm not vaxxing my kids.
yeah.
We're like, that's okay.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of anti-vaxxers out here, right? Like
It's the blend of like the woo meets the hard right. So
Yeah.
like
Oh,
all
yeah.
the crystal
Wait, it's
people
horseshoe
came
theory.
over.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
They circled back in.
'Cause
and
you
said,
kinda, like-
There's tons
'cause-
of hippies who are like, I'm never doing vaccines or any modern medicine or science or anything
Yeah.
like
Yep.
that. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of like hard right people who are like, I'm drinking only milk from the cow's udder, but
Yeah.
then there's also a lot of like hard left people that are like that too.
yeah.
So but it's just like they have different ways of getting there.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a weird overlap. I'm
Yeah.
like, if
Yeah.
you go far enough in any direction, you come back.
You end up in Ojai.
You end up in Ojai. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so glad you guys are here, because it always makes me feel a little less insane when somebody
Yeah.
else can be here and be like,
Yeah.
no, it's very
Well,
peaceful,
like,
but it's weird.
It is peace. It's like beautiful
It's
here.
kind of like
It's-
Topanga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Topanga just like spread out.
Yeah.
Because Topanga's kind of like that, where there's like bizarre people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I've known some Topanga people.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
there's nice people there. Like, but they are definitely like out there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But they're nice, you know?
Well, it takes something to go, I'm going to move away from civilization and
Right.
live in this tiny town and
Yeah.
just be fully reliant on whatever I have.
Well, and there's only there's like 2 ways in and 2 ways out, basically.
Yeah, there's you could argue 3, but one of them leads to like Santa Barbara, Montecito.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then Montecito's its own thing. Like,
Yeah, that's its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the upgraded Ojai, where if you have a lot of money and you want to do the Epstein thing, that's kind of where you end up.
Dude, one of the Epstein accusers killed herself.
Yeah, well,
Killed
dude,
herself.
Well,
Like-
this is a complicated one, because it's like she got in an insane car accident and then was like debilitated and was told she had 3 months to live, and so then
Jesus.
she killed herself.
So was it like unrelated to anything? It was just from the accident or what?
Who knows
Well,
anymore?
yeah, we don't know,
because
but-
like, who hit her? How did this happen? I heard she got hit by like a bus or something
Jesus.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was like,
She got hit by the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Could you imagine? No, that happened before she. Yeah, I don't know, dude. That's a weird one, because I'm
Yeah.
like, she probably did kill herself, because it was like I don't want to watch myself die for 3 months
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
not come out of it. But how do
But
you
it is
kill
kind of
yourself
like
in a hospital room?
kind of like the Boeing whistleblower. Like, did it really?
Yeah.
Was it really a suicide? Like,
Dude, if I let Boeing down, I would kill myself too.
yeah.
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 Dude, there's like a new, I don't know if this is like a new thing or if it's like been around, but I feel like I've seen it more, and I feel like I've seen it more in Europe. It's like people who are doing like medically assisted suicide type of stuff.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
Amsterdam is the huge
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And I saw this guy, think it was on like Instagram or something. This guy had an account where it was like, I'm planning to die in like a year because I have a condition where my quality of life will be horrible. And he was like, I'm just going to meet people around the world in this year. And he literally is now like traveling the world and getting like amazing, like delicious meals from strangers and having like great conversations. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of a
I've
man.
totally seen this guy,
You know who
and
I'm
now
talking
he's
about?
doing the cookbook of like all the
Yeah.
meals that he's had, and it's one of those weird like, okay, now you found a reason to live.
Yeah.
Are you still gonna end
Are
your
you-
life?
Yeah,
now
like
that you're famous?
it's almost like it's kind of a scam if he doesn't do it now. Right?
Yeah.
he could fake his death, and then
That's true.
now
yeah.
the pressure's on though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
you got to
real.
commit to the bit now.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I'd be like, I would fake it and try to keep going because I'd be like, fuck
Yeah.
it, man. It's-
Or you could take the high road and be like, I've found so much good to live for in life that like I'm gonna let myself go, naturally. But that does kind of look like a bad move.
well, also like whatever his thing was, it sounded like the way he would go naturally would be like painful.
Painful.
torture,
it's like I'm gonna
terrible.
go naturally and just blow my fucking brains out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the natural way.
The natural
The
way
natural
of lead
order.
just making its way through my brain. Yeah, very, very natural.
That would be wild if it was like your thing was depression, and so that's why you were gonna go over there and like end it.
Yeah, like that was your quality of life thing. It's just that like the average like depression kind of diagnosis, and you're just like, yeah, fuck it.
Just hella bummed out.
We can like fix that, man. Like you don't have to. You don't have to do
Just
it.
go to a Fish concert, bro. Like,
Yeah.
It
there
all
you go.
gets fixed from there.
Exactly.
Dude, I wonder if there's a limit with the assisted suicide thing, though. If it's like you need some kind of doctor's note, like in school.
Well, no,
I would
people were
assume
people
so.
were getting like coerced into it. Well, like where they would get like a bad actor therapist, and the therapist was like, this actually is the right decision, and then they turned at the last second, they're like, don't do it, and then they regret like
Dude,
where they get like talked into it,
After the whole period of time where you had to have a medical card in California to get weed, if that happened in California, we'd have so many of them, dude. Because like you know how like you'd have to back in the day before weed was like legal.
Oh, yeah, I called
you'd have
the doctor and said I had a
you call a
stomachache.
doctor,
Yeah.
and say you have like anxiety,
Yeah.
and then they give you a little card that says this person is allowed to get weed
for
and
like
then,
$40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like if we had that here, like the medically assisted suicide, so many people, there would be tons of doctors making bank off of that here,
That's the thing. Like, do you, in the same way, if you prescribe medication and get a kickback, do you get a kickback every time one of your patients kills themselves? like how
crazy.
much? How much
It's
per
like, yo,
head?
you got to hit your quota this month.
Oh man,
You're just a bounty hunter at that point.
that's wild.
You're like the executioner, bro.
It's like a
Look,
future
I don't pull
joke.
the trigger. It's totally up to them. But you're just psychologically manipulating this
"Do it."
person for a year.
Yeah. You're like,
Dude, that's
You
crazy.
know, your wife
You're like-
hates you. She's
yeah.
been cheating on you for like
yeah,
9 months.
You're like, look, you spend 16 hours on Minecraft every day. Like,
Yeah.
like the movie already came out. Like, you don't have anything else to live for.
You know,
Like,
I talked to your son in the waiting room, and he just hates you so much. Like,
your son wants his inheritance. Like, get it over with. Like,
yeah.
do you realize how much your life insurance policy is?
yeah.
If you hate your life, everyone else will benefit.
Your wife will save money on groceries if you're not here. Like,
It's just inflation is everybody's reasons. That's got to be the best doctor job. You just bring up inflation
man.
every
yeah, you're like, look, like rent's not going down. Like
Yeah, man.
Look at the
climate,
No, the
fucking-
doctor's like, if you go to Denny's, they charge you 50 cents per egg. Like,
Honestly, you know what? That is true. We just went to Denny's and there was a fucking sign that said if you want eggs, it's 50 cents extra
Per egg.
Yeah.
per egg.
Because
they're gonna
because of
per
the-
egg you,
Yeah, because of the tariffs and
Yeah.
stuff,
dude. What the fuck? Have
I
the
do like-
tariffs
I-
even gone into play yet, or are we still
don't-
just threatening
I
them?
no
it's,
idea.
I think
You can't say 50
I think they
cents
did.
per
by the time
egg
by the
tariff.
time this episode drops, they'll probably be in. But I don't think right now they're in.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of halfway. I mean, I know Japan's like on some shit where they're like, we were talking about that, how Japan's like linking up with South Korea and like China.
Oh yeah. And that's one of those things where it's like if they're allied against you, you fucked up because they're always fucking at each other's
yeah, because they
throats.
hated
Like,
each other for like 5,000
If
years.
you
Yeah.
can solve a multi-generational
That's like,
crisis,
dude, that's like uniting like Israel and Palestine, like over like
over Jordan.
Yeah. That's wild.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's like China doesn't have to do anything, and they're just winning. You know, like fucking, we're shooting ourselves in the foot with
Well,
someone like
China,
Donald Trump.
we
you
were
know?
talking about that too. China's winning with the like replaceable batteries for cars, where instead of it's like an RC car.
Oh,
Where
that's right,
Instead
yeah.
of like charging your battery, you just go and they like literally unclick
juice
it,
it
and
up.
they just put a new one.
It's
in.
like, why wouldn't they? It's crazy that like we have electric cars where the battery's just stuck in there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you do it that way? You know, it feels like it makes so much sense.
We do that with fucking Lime scooters. There's like somebody
Yeah.
who drives around with battery packs and
Yeah,
refills all of them.
yeah, how are those guys doing? Are like that's like
What is the Lime
what's-
charger
yeah,
business like?
what-
right
yeah,
now?
no, because I remember when they first dropped, and like I hated them so much, and I would just be in downtown, and I would like pick one up and throw it in like something. Like,
Dude, I went through the brokest era of my life in Culver City where I would drive around and pick up Lime scooters and then plug them into my outlet in like our garage and just charge them and then throw them back out.
God.
And I was like, dude, that was the lowest level of my life.
Damn.
wait, you didn't even have a truck though, so how did you?
No,
like,
I would literally
your
shove it in
car?
my tiny ass car and I would
Yeah.
fit in like 3
Damn.
scooters and be like, this is like $7.
but they don't even fold up. Like,
and then your bill for the month just skyrockets. dude. By like the
you
fifth
just kill
scooter,
yourself because it's too like.
by the fifth
too
scooter, I was
expensive.
like, this is the worst business fucking model ever. Like, just go
I
work a
remember
job.
when I used to do DoorDash, I wouldn't do DoorDash, and I would just leave the app open, and you could get money if you just left the app open all day.
Worth it, dude.
Because you could just say you were waiting for, and you could if you turned down enough, it would pay you for being active.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
It's kind of a smart move.
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel guilty on Postmates. Like, I try to never order Postmates, but I got sick recently. And
Yeah.
so I was like, all right,
Yeah,
fuck
what were you
it.
ordering? Like 50 wings from
I
Wingstop?
just ordered like 100 tacos to my house. But then I felt so bad because it was like, you can see the photo of your delivery driver. And it was clearly like a 67-year-old
Oh,
woman
yeah.
going
yeah.
through a divorce.
No, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
messaging me on the app. I can't find the front door. I need to park behind
She's,
the
like, legally
building.
blind,
I
like-
need to walk around.
Yeah.
And now I'm just a dick making this woman like
Dude,
wander.
my favorite was there was a guy I would deliver to in Burbank, and it was every single week. He would order 2 handles of vodka and 2 cartons of cigarettes.
My
and
boy.
he was like a shut-in, and I would try and like knock on his door, and he would yell through the screen like, "Just leave it on the porch." And then I would like go back to my car and watch him come out, and he was just this like he looked like that South Park episode where the guy's like on his computer playing World of
Oh, yeah.
Warcraft. Like,
Legend.
yeah.
That guy's probably happier than any of us right now. Honestly.
No, and then one time this chick ordered like a bunch of cigarettes, and I brought them, and she was like, "These are not the right cigarettes. I need the other ones." And I just took all of them and left.
It's kind of a win on your end, dude. You came out ahead on that one.
Nice.
It'd be funny to watch the guy grab like the 2 cartons and the 2 handles though and just crack open the handle in the front of the house, light a stove up and just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just take him down right there.
get a glimpse into the life.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a because like I usually don't use any kind of food delivery service. Well, first of all, like I feel sort of the same way where I'm like, I feel bad for these people. Like they're struggling, but at the same time, also, if you just use those, like it's so stupid expensive for no particular reason. Like
Especially if it's like a mile away. Like, just
Yeah.
go over there.
oh
like,
yeah, for sure. And like I got into a little bit of a habit when I got sick too, because it's so much easier to just be like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna order a fucking pizza. And I don't feel bad ordering pizza because we've been delivering pizzas
Yeah.
for decades. Like
That one's
that's
still
not-
kosher.
That's fine. But like I seriously had to like get out of that habit and just start cooking at home. And now I cook a lot at home and I'm like really happy about it. But I'm like, I don't want to do fucking DoorDash anymore. Like
Yeah,
I can
once
literally
you
just
get
drive
off of
somewhere. Yeah, once you
Yeah.
get off of it, you're like, it's stupid. It's
The
expensive.
worst is when a restaurant like doesn't allow you to order over the phone, and they like
Yeah.
make you order takeout through DoorDash or through one
Oh,
of those
that
apps.
sucks.
I
Yeah.
hate that shit.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you got like a $60 fee added on.
yeah,
there.
and I'm like, you guys aren't like you guys would make like you'd have a better margin if you just cut all that out and let me just order over the
it's
phone.
laziness pretty much, I
yeah.
feel like. Yeah.
Who wants a middleman?
Like, yeah.
I mean, I just got food from a food truck the other day where it was like either cash only or Zelle. And I was like, I don't have any cash, so I'm going on Zelle here and, sending you something on there. And that I don't mind so much, but it's also like, I don't know, like we can't have that everywhere where it's like use your what's it called? What are those things called? Like Zelle and like
Cash App,
Cash App and stuff.
Cash
like,
App,
yeah, and like Venmo,
yeah, like
Apple
those
Pay.
transfer apps and stuff. Like, I don't want it to become that like
No.
everywhere, you know?
I remember like during the pandemic, there was a moment where places like that were trying to be like, yeah, we take Bitcoin. Like,
Dude,
you remember that?
The
Like,
fucking Bitcoin pizza is the legendary
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
The first Bitcoin
Dude,
transaction.
My first interaction with Bitcoin was I was 17 in England, and my buddy in England had ordered. Remember Silk Road?
Yeah.
He ordered like a pound of hash from Afghanistan on Silk Road.
Damn.
And he paid like 5 Bitcoin for it. But at the time, that was like not that much.
It's like delivered
Yeah.
by the U.S.
Yeah.
Army. To
Yeah, and it's like, dude, if you had not bought that hash and just held on to those 5 Bitcoins, like you probably would have been better off.
But
Like,
I bet if you ask him, he's like, nah, that hash from
but, dude,
Afghanistan
we
was
wouldn't
so
have the
good.
memories though. I mean, you know, like
Silk Road only existed for like criminals, pedophiles, and like drug dealers.
well, Hitman for Hire.
Yeah.
Dude, you know my favorite thing about that is there's literally a website called like Hitman for Hire or something like that.com, and it's set up by the feds, and it's like people are dumb enough to like go on there and they literally will order a Hitman for Hire, and then the next day you just get raided by the SWAT team.
That's
Like,
absolutely
Dude.
fucking wild.
The FBI not even being sly by being like
but also
hitmanforhire.com.
like I just feel like murder for hire is like it's actually like common. Like,
Dude, I have
it's-
so much less respect for people who do that though. I'm like, just kill the
Just-
fucking
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Like you're still gonna
Yeah.
go down for it anyway. Like, don't outsource
true.
this labor.
That's how Lil Durk just went down, because he has a bunch of songs where on the song he's like, yeah, on this day I paid this person $100,000 to go and kill them, and they were in this SUV and they used this gun and it was revenge for this person. And then the feds they didn't, like, they barely had to do anything. It's just it's all there.
They're like, here's his admission, and we're taking him in, and yeah, that's it.
when Trill goes too far, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, okay, I gotta pee real quick.
Me
and
too.
If I don't
Me
say
too.
it
I'll
right
pee,
now,
I'll pee after you. We'll just keep it rolling.
Keep it going, yeah.
Keep it rolling.
Luckily, my
Just
bladder
pee in front
is
of the
so
camera right
strong.
there, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man. I'm like, it's funny too, because that also reminds me of like the Swedish rappers too, because they had
Einar.
a bunch of tracks. Yeah, Einar. Shout out Einar. Wait, rip Einar. No?
Yeah, R.I.P. Einar.
R.I.P. Einar.
Yeah, that was murder for hire.
That was.
Yeah.
Well, all that shit is too, because like, and they make their tracks around that too. They like brag about like killing like
There's
like
like,
kids and shit. It's crazy.
It's almost like there's like a hypothetical like trophy
Yeah.
of doing that. Like,
Because there's like I remember in that documentary,
Mhm.
like the loophole was like, if you are under 18, it's the only 4 years in prison is the maximum.
yeah.
So
yeah.
you get to be like a hired killer at 18 and go to jail for only 4 years, and then you're out in
Yeah.
Sweden. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was fast. Yeah, I gotta pee really bad.
Go for it.
But keep it rolling somehow.
We'll keep it rolling.
I mean, these guys just met each other, but they're both friends of mine.
We
so-
got stuff to talk about. You know.
Yeah,
we'll figure something out.
we'll cook the books while
Yeah,
you're
for
gone.
sure. No, actually, I wanted to talk to you about music again, because you were talking about the Sahara Rock. Is it what it's called?
Sahara Rock.
Yeah, dude. What I've been listening to recently is Ethiopian jazz. Have you heard any of that stuff?
No, but I'm
Oh,
so
dude.
in.
I got to show you some of that stuff. There's like some artists, like they have like it's like a lot of like saxophone players, and it's like I don't even know how to describe it. Just imagine like sort of like off kilter rhythm, but it's still like in a groove, and they're just like jamming like crazy over it.
Dude, that's the
it's
best.
super cool.
When you can hit that cohesive blend where everybody's
Yeah.
just riffing. And,
Yeah.
But that's got to be so hard to keep up with, too.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, a lot of jazz stuff is like if you're not like ready to go and in the pocket, like you get lost so fast. Like you get left behind, you know?
Yeah, it's the time signatures.
Yeah.
That'll just change out of nowhere and
Yeah.
go to a weird spot.
You got to be like watching each other and like locked in, you know?
I wonder how Ethiopian jazz like comes about too. I'm like, are
I'm
they
not sure.
listening to like old American jazz?
I think
and
a lot of
getting
it
influenced?
happened like that. Yeah, cuz like there's a lot of like African music that's like that, where it's like they took like old like blues music or old American music and were like, damn, we should do that too.
Yeah.
And they like bring it like back over there, and they play amazing music. You know, it's really cool.
Dude, there's something about like civil unrest too, adding to
true.
like guitar playing.
Yeah.
Because it's like for us in the 60s, that became a huge thing.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing like everywhere in Africa, anywhere going through like a civil rights or civil war crisis, they just have these people shredding.
Oh man, there's another one. There's like it's like a Nigerian thing. I'm trying to remember. It's like Eddie something. I don't remember the name. See, I wish I knew
Eddie
the name.
Bravo.
Not Eddie Bravo. But anyway, like there's like another album I'll send you that's like really good. It's like a bunch of like Nigerian artists, and they made all this music like in the middle of like some kind of like like revolutionary type situation like that. And it's really cool because it's like it's sort of like coping with the hard times music. So it's like it's like sometimes dark subject matter and sometimes like dark lyrics, but it's all very upbeat and happy sounding, like we're making it through it. And I'm like, I love that kind of vibe, you know?
That
like,
is totally
yeah.
it.
It's
That's-
so uplifting, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Like we can get through this no matter how crazy,
Yeah.
chaotic it
yeah.
gets.
It's like a deep story, you know? And I like that kind of shit. I think that's really cool.
Dude, Etrandalaire is totally like that. I'm like they fill that void where you just hear all the passion that they're kind of going through,
Oh, yeah.
and like
Yeah.
getting to express it in whatever way they can. And you don't want anybody to have to go through that, but you're like, God damn, there's such good music that
No,
comes
it's like
out of it.
it's like you respect the way that they like present that to the world and the way that they kind of process that through their like creative mind. It's just like any artist that can do that, I'm like, I love that shit, you know?
And that's when it sucks when like we get in a cultural lull here where everything gets kind of good and like there's
Yeah.
not a lot of that. You see the music just kind of go full corporate pop.
Oh, yeah.
And dive into that.
It takes a little bit of like struggle to make really good music, you know? Like if your life is just perfectly fine,
I think that's why during like the end of the Obama era, there was so much of that indie music that's like, hey, ho,
oh
like,
yeah,
stomp,
Tambourine,
clap.
yeah.
yeah, because it was like everyone thought like we had reached like
We're good.
yeah.
yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
got too comfortable.
Too
We got it.
comfortable.
We got America enlightened.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone got too comfortable with like hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even like early 2000s and stuff, you had like Rage Against the Machine going off, and
Yeah.
you had the anti-Bush era and NoFX.
But they
and,
had
like,
something that was like I feel like really, and not to say that like the current administration isn't this way either, because I think it also is, but like they had something that was really easy and straightforward to be opposed to.
Shout out
like,
Dick Cheney.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Shout
but
out
that's
Dick
the thing.
Cheney, the
like,
goat.
like you look at people like that, and it's like, yeah, this person's basically a human like monster. Yeah, we can write some fucking cool rock
Yeah.
songs about how this guy sucks. You know, it's
And the
very
heroes
easy.
and the villains are very defined.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for
There's
sure.
no questionable nature.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Dick Cheney like a monster. Like when someone's describing like a UFC fighter, like this guy's a fucking monster, man.
He's had 3 hearts. Like,
Dude, no, there was like a meme. I don't remember who the soldier is, but it was like the most like nerdy looking like white dude with like big fucking giant glasses, and it's like this guy's responsible for the deaths of like 3,000 people or something
just
like
looks
that.
like Bubbles
And he's
from
got like
Trailer
a big
Park
like
Boys.
cheesy smile. It's like, dude, some of the most vicious killers are like the goofiest fucking like jolly guys, and it's like
They're just
that's
silly-
kind of creepy.
silly gooses.
Yeah, they're just silly little guys. You
That's
know?
the thing. Like, is every president a serial killer, technically?
Yeah.
Like, if you're
Oh, for
ordering
sure.
a drone strike, like,
Yeah.
that puts you on the list.
Yeah.
I would say so.
No,
I
every
mean, yeah.
president is a war criminal for sure. Just it's yeah.
I mean, like that's the thing is like as a nation, the U.S. I think has never had a period where it wasn't doing some kind of crazy, awful, heinous shit. You know,
we've always put our hand in.
we've
some
always
other
done
pot.
something. Yeah, and it's like you could just go to any era, and even our best presidents, there's something nasty down there. You know,
Who is the best president? Is there like a
Dude,
song,
Garfield.
know.
Garfield's the best president.
He's a
easily.
goat?
Who's the
Because
one who,
my
like-
cousin fucking assassinated him?
Oh,
so
that's
yes,
right.
that's why he's the best. Yeah. No, literally. Have I told that story on this show?
I don't think
mean,
so.
you guys know this story,
Let it
but
fucking rip, dude.
yeah. So Charles Guiteau, go on Wikipedia right now if you're listening to this show. Type in Charles Guiteau spelled with 1 T because on my mom's side of the family, it's Gateau with 2 T's because after he killed the president, they didn't want anything to do with him, and they added another T to the name.
That's so goated.
Yeah.
You're related to a presidential assassin.
Yeah, dude. No, it's incredible.
so
I mean, and
goated.
this guy was out of his fucking mind. He was in a cult where I haven't told you this.
Let's fucking go.
He was in a cult where it was like an edging cult,
Oh my god.
like a gooner cult, where they would like
Wait, when
you-
wasn't this in like the
1800s? Yeah.
We still had gooners in the 1800s.
Yeah. He was like
Pre-internet.
He was like the original incel,
Incredible.
bro. Like he was in this cult
Damn.
where you were like it was to practice like mindfulness. So you were allowed to get as close as you possibly could to like
coming.
fill in the blank. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a fat jizz.
Yeah.
to just shooting ropes, dude. Like you could get as close as you could, but if you did, it was a sin.
If you came.
Yes.
Oh,
so if
dude.
you did, it was like you were allowed to experience because it was considered like you were breaking the like almighty bond with purity, right? It's like you were pure if you did not participate in actually like finishing the job of intercourse, right?
So if you died with all your semen still in you, you were like
yeah,
God
it's
level.
like those
That's-
those Huberman like semen retention. Like,
That
was
seems
like-
unhealthy.
it was
That
to
seems
the-
like it's not
and
good
then,
for you.
No, and then the best part is he like married a prostitute and like he got like catfished. It was like
In the 1800s?
Yeah, he like
That's so crazy.
he like married a prostitute and then he moved to DC and then he got like it was kind of like Taxi Driver where he just got like obsessed with like the president. And he had made up his mind that he was owed the ambassador office to like Turkey or some random country.
Damn.
And he was not appointed to the ambassador, so he went to the train station with a fucking revolver and popped him.
This
Yeah.
guy was so ahead of his time.
Yeah, no, he
Like
was,
if you plopped him
he was
into now,
goated, dude.
he would be like a totally normal guy.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we got like 12 of those guys. Actually, we got like 200 of those guys. Maybe
Yeah.
200,000.
No, but he was like the original like gooner incel.
That's
Just
crazy.
to think, dude, if they had World of Warcraft back then,
I know,
he
it
would have
would've-
totally
it
been
would've
That
fine.
president
and
would've
just-
Think
survived.
of the amount of like lives that have been saved now
By World of Warcraft. and
Probably
like
this-
Magic the Gathering and
the
shit.
same amount that have been destroyed. Like it's a clean balance.
Like OnlyFans girls are just out here like saving like mass shootings.
Hey, that might actually be true.
how many OnlyFans models have saved schools,
Dude,
Like,
we don't respect the troops
yeah.
enough
We
here.
gotta start doing awards. Most
Yeah.
school shootings averted. OnlyFans.
Yeah,
They're carrying the weight of society on their back. They are.
it should be like instead of that challenge of like I slept with 100 men in a day, it's like I slept with 100 like potential school shooters.
Yeah.
in a
I
day.
saved
I-
30,000 lives.
Holy shit.
What merit badge do you get in the brownies for pulling that off?
Achievement unlocked. Like
Damn.
That's goated, dude. Your uncle is goated.
no, it's on my mom's side. On my mom's dad, it was like his like great uncle or something. But yeah, like I always grew up hearing about the story, and then I did my own research, and sure enough, dude. And then there's like a YouTube video where there's like it tells the story, and I left a comment about my experience, and everyone was like, "You're fucking lying,
You liar."
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, because I just totally like. I'm just gonna go to this random YouTube video and
Yeah,
just claim
Start talking
that,
shit.
No, people, you could say anything and people would be like, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. You're lying. Yeah.
dude. I fucking shared this podcast on the audio engineering subreddit, and people were like just roasting me, and I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. Sharing it on like an audio subreddit is like.
on any Reddit. I
That's
fucking hate
that's
Reddit.
your
That's
own
a guarantee
fault
for
for
people to
sharing it.
just start shitting on you
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah.
That's like just sort of sharing it on Twitter, and having people shit on you immediately.
No, I hate Reddit. It's like that meme where it's like, I have no job, I have no girlfriend, I've never kissed a woman, I spend 9 hours a day on my computer, and I watch TV for 7 hours a day, and then it's like all this shit, and then it's like, now here's how I'd fix this country.
Yeah, yeah,
The most reliable source.
yeah.
Dude, you should track down Garfield's relatives and like make amends,
Yeah.
like have a
Yeah.
generational
you
cure.
should you should track down Garfield's relatives and challenge them to a duel. That's what you should do.
I want to
Make your
track
relative
down, dude.
proud.
I wonder if that like Gooner cult is still active.
Oh, there's a
Like,
lot of Gooner
Yeah.
cults
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Just go on Instagram, you'll find them.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, what's going on Instagram these days? I haven't like.
Kind of the same old, to be honest. I
Yeah,
feel like there's not
same
much
old.
difference.
I that's how I found, because I was watching this like podcast where they were like ripping that woman in Pakistan, and they were showing a clip from Instagram of. Do you know about this woman in Pakistan?
No.
So she like got catfished by some like 17-year-old that she fell in love with. And she went out there to see him, and he ghosted her.
Wait,
and then,
she's from Pakistan?
no,
or
she's from
the
New
US?
York City.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's like has that like very like Brooklyn vibe, you know.
Yeah.
And she
How
went
old
all
is
the way
she?
28.
Okay.
And she went all the way over to find her husband, and
Yeah.
he ghosted her. And then she went to like the government in Pakistan, like the consulate, and was like, "I need $100,000."
Like to get back?
No, to get into real estate in Dubai.
What?
She's now starting a whole separate career.
That's nothing to do with
no.
yeah.
It's just like mental illness on
That's
display.
wild.
It's great.
Dude, she's goaded for taking a scenario that she's totally at fault for and then being like, I need $100,000.
I mean,
So
yeah,
she needed
that's-
$100,000 to get into real estate, and then she needed another $30,000, like just because she said so. Like
Dude, that's the kind of confidence I wish I had, because that even like when 90% of the time it doesn't get you anywhere, that 10% that it actually works will kind of get you somewhere. I feel like, you know.
If she started a GoFundMe right now, it'd be filled in like 3 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just look at Haktua coin,
yeah,
I put all my money in Haktua coin.
dude. Yeah,
and now you're rich, right?
I'm loaded.
I put both of you onto Palantir, and I didn't take my own advice.
You're so dumb for
Dude,
that.
I put him onto Palantir when it was like $40, bro.
Yeah.
And like I didn't.
And I
fucking
remember
buy it.
us being drunk at like the worst bar in Thousand Oaks, and me just making like okay, I'm gonna put like $120 into this, and then waking up the next day being like, how did I let Pat convince me to do this dumbass move? And now it's just paid off. So
Damn.
best drunk buy I've
Dude,
ever.
and I
wild.
just did not take my own advice, and I'm so mad because now it's just too late. But
You had it, dude.
dude,
You were with it.
I know.
What's the next thing that's gonna take off? What is the?
I think the next thing that's going to take off is thermal energy, geothermal energy. So like there's it's like Journey to the Center of the Earth type of shit, where they've figured out ways to drill like deeper than ever before, and they can tap into that heat, and they can turn that into like unlimited energy. And so I
Damn,
think
really?
that might be like it's the kind of thing where it's not within the next 5 years. I think within the next like 20 years, if they really lock that in and you get in early on that, like you're gonna print money. Like,
Dude,
But it's like that's only if it kind of all
if it
works out, right?
It's so far. There's only one like hole that goes probably it goes a couple miles deep, and it's like in like Kazakhstan or something. But the hole is like the size of this cup holder, and they need
And that goes all the way to like the center of the
not
earth.
the center, but it goes like past like
The
most
crust
of
or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes like deep enough to where like you're basically entering hell. Like, but it's they have to figure out how to get like a big enough thing to get like equipment down there
Yeah.
to like tap into that energy. But I think like if they can do that, like, and you can invest in that, like I think you actually could make a lot of money.
Well, if you could invest in the drilling company too, that means
Yeah.
you would also get any asteroid we decide to drill in for rare minerals. We could drill into the
Yeah,
moon.
but the asteroid thing is never going to take off because they can't even get astronauts back from the space station.
Wasn't
like,
there a thing where it's like it's really hard for them to land a thing on an like a
on
little
it,
lander
yeah,
on an
yeah.
asteroid?
And then,
Yeah.
well, it's like the thing is, the reason I think investing in like geothermal energy is going to pay off because to even get to an asteroid, you need energy. So it's like you have to
Yeah.
think like before that even happens, they need the energy.
What are they going to do to get them up there?
Yeah, it's like that's go to the source.
But it's like I also feel like aerospace is not even like, because like I feel like there was a big push for like, I don't know, aerospace and like space exploration for the last like, I don't know, maybe 10 years, but it feels like it's not like accelerating. It feels like it's kind of dropping off.
because
no?
it goes in like it'll sprint and then it'll like run out of breath and it has to like recharge and then it'll sprint again.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of how it's been.
But do you know that it will sprint again? You know, like
I
what
just
if
got
we?
a fucking job at an aerospace.
That is
company,
true. That is true. Actually,
And they gave me stock options, so it fucking better
It
be.
better start sprinting. Like,
Did they give you stock options? Actually,
no, they don't have a. They're too small to have a stock.
Oh, that's true.
But
that would have been cool.
I'm
though.
gonna definitely like once I get put on to like what's going on. I'm gonna start trying to connect dots of like how can I make money by investing in shit. Like
if you can get an actual full wage and stock options, that's cool.
Yeah,
If you can get stock options but not a good wage, that's bullshit. You know, like because I knew a friend who like went into like basically like a startup, and that's kind of what they offered is like, oh yeah, you could have like part ownership of the company, and it's like, but what if the company sucks?
or if it tanks,
You know, then it's like, oh, okay, then
Well, it's the post-Facebook economy. Where
Yeah.
It's like, we're all going to be the next Facebook, so don't you want to get in on the ground level?
yeah,
yeah,
You could be David Cho and get $1 billion for just painting the space if
Yeah.
you take the
Yeah.
stock option.
I mean, that's the thing is like you can't like it's really hard to predict what will be that next kind of Facebook blow up thing. You know,
And
like,
everybody inventing anything thinks their
They
thing is
believe it.
going to be
yeah.
that
But that's
thing.
why you got to invest in energy because to do any of that, you
I mean, that
have-
makes sense. I feel like it makes more sense to invest in things where it's like we need this. You
Yeah,
know?
like you have
people
to be
are
able
going
to
need
plug
it.
something into an outlet and have it work. So that's I'm like just kind of bypass all of that, you know.
But then it's like, is geothermal going to be like big enough to replace what our current like energy usages
Well,
are?
it's like deep sea mining where it's like the concept is there, but like the execution is not. You know.
So we have to kind of wait and see in the next 5,
it's like
10
a wait
years.
and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
And
that makes
there's,
sense.
like, At what point do you drill deep enough where you throw off the orbit of the Earth and just fuck everything
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
You keep drilling and then you just get to China at the other side. You know? It's
Look,
like the joke when you're like in the sandbox, like keep digging, you eventually get there. You know.
I've always believed in one China. I've always supported one
Yeah.
China. Everything I've done has been in relation to one China. So if we reach there, I'm okay with it.
You have to get that disclaimer
I had
out
to say it on record
make
just
sure.
so everybody knows.
Yeah.
I'm on record being I've always believed in
How do you
China.
feel about Taiwan?
I don't even know what that is. I've never even heard of such a place. And if it did exist, it's a fantasy. We just look the
shout out,
camera directly in the eye.
Shout out, what's his name? Shout out, oh shit, what's his name?
John Cena?
Shout out Winnie the Pooh. You know who I'm
Oh,
talking
Xi
about.
Jinping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Looks nothing like Winnie the Pooh.
He doesn't
I'm
really,
tired of these
no.
people degrading my
He's just
hero.
chubby, man.
Who is it? John Cena who came out and gave
Speaking
that
like
whole
fluent
speech
yeah,
in
like
fluent Mandarin?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I want that to be me
Yeah,
so bad
I
in
know.
10 years.
No,
Just
well they
pop that
dude,
out
they
anytime.
they MK ultra'd him to do that. They remoted into his brain.
No,
Like,
no. They showed him the truth and he got enlightened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The activation phrase was Bing chilling.
Oh my lord.
He's like, fuck yeah, ice cream, dude. Love it. No, dude, I still want to learn.
This poor guy.
I still want to learn Japanese. I know a little bit of Japanese, and then I also kind of want to learn like some of the. See, it's hard to describe it, but some of like the Hindi languages because there's multiple, you
Yep.
know. But I'm curious about that stuff, you know.
I took 2 years of Japanese and
Yeah.
I didn't retain much of it.
No, but then
other
you
than
texted me in
Hajime
Japan and you
mashite.
kind of put me
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
I would send you stuff in like Japanese every once in a while, but the problem is it's the alphabets because they got 3 different
Yeah.
alphabets,
Yeah.
which really
But
throws
everyone
everything for
speaks
a loop.
English over there, and like everything, it's funny because like when something's branded over there, it's always branded in English.
Yeah.
It's like part of their. It's just part of their thing where like if you have a brand, it's like more legit, I guess, if it's written in
Well, it like
English.
looks cool. It's like a
It's like an
stylish
aesthetic.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
wonder to them looking at English, does it look as cool as us seeing
Yes.
Japanese?
Yeah.
Or does
Are
it
there-
look
are there
You know
lame?
those
Label-
shirts that are like, you know, like hope for buttholes or something? Like, like
there's people
where
with,
it's like
like, tattoos.
mistranslations.
The rough translate?
Yeah.
Like they definitely think it doesn't matter what it says. If it's in English, it looks nice, you know?
Tight.
There's
Yeah.
people with tattoos that just say like double cheeseburger, like
Yeah.
on their arm, like, and they're like, it means love. Like,
Yeah.
It's just the
it
In-N-Out
means,
menu.
It means family. Like,
No, yeah, there was
Yeah.
a guy, I think his name was like Gary or something, and a guy was talking about like the way you write that in Japanese is like Gary, the 2 characters, and they're like katakana, which is like the simpler characters. And he was like, no, I want kanji. which are like the more complicated characters. But he's like, you can't do that because they have a specific meaning. It's not going to mean Gary. It's going to mean something else. So he picked out two kanji that sounded like Gary, but it meant something like diarrhea pants or some shit like that, you know?
Rough move.
And it was like, there you go. Like that is Gary. It does say Gary for sure, you know?
You're like, you're not wrong, but
Yeah.
Rough translate.
But it's kind of nasty.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Yeah.
Just walking around with Diarrhea King on your chest.
No, I started learning Japanese and it's like, see, the thing is like the like alphabetical systems, like the hiragana and katakana, that's not that bad.
Yeah,
like you
that's
can
doable.
get that eventually.
There's at least a 1-to-1 of like,
Yeah.
okay.
Kanji is like, you'll start diving in and be like, oh, okay, wait, I'm starting to get it. There's like shapes that mean the same thing in different words, so you can kind of guess at some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, okay, but here's one kanji that these symbols all refer to the sound, but it has nothing to do with all these other symbols that look the same.
Yeah, then
And
you're
it's
in
like
a total loop.
No, now you're just like, you got to study like for that, you know. You got to like get in the books, you know.
Then the thing is too, it's like there's because they're so calligraphy driven, it's like the way you do it has to be in the order that
stroke
it is
order.
too, or it'll look different.
Yeah.
or-
Dude, that's the thing, because like when I started looking into learning like Chinese, like and seeing the characters, I was like, oh, I know a little bit of kanji from Japanese, so this will be easy. But then I started looking at like Chinese. First of all, that doesn't make it much easier.
Yeah.
But it helps a little bit. But like seeing like Chinese like handwriting versus computer characters, it's crazy
Totally
because
different.
it's like some of the strokes are kind of shorthand and combined, so it looks like cursive, and it's like that is not the same character. I mean, it's the same character, but I cannot recognize
There's
it.
no
you know?
distinguishing.
Yeah.
Dude, do you remember? I don't remember this kid's name, but do you remember in like 3rd or 4th grade? Because we went to the same elementary school. Do you remember in like 3rd or 4th grade there was this kid who had just moved from China, and we told him that like this means hello.
That's like the
My God.
classic. Every new kid from a foreign country is just like, this means thank you. Go do it to the teacher.
That's literally a Mr. Bean joke. Have you seen Mr. Bean? He sees someone flip him off, and he's like, oh, interesting. And then he's so just like driving around like,
I love you.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so classic. That's like the ultimate childhood, like just throw a kid off, start some
Oh, for
shit
sure.
just
Yeah.
to watch
Yeah.
it happen.
Yeah.
That's what like starts your personality though. Like now you're the cool kid who flips people off. you
Yeah.
know?
Dude,
Like,
no, there was
Now
this,
you're a gangster.
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
this kid who got I don't know, he didn't get expelled, but he definitely got like reprimanded where like cuz the principal was named Mr. Baker, and like remember like Baker skateboards?
Oh yeah.
This kid showed up to school, like skated to school with a Baker skateboard, and he
Yeah.
got like, I want to say he got like suspended.
Dude, it
or
was like a hate
something.
crime.
Oh, they thought it was like
They
for
charged
the,
him as a
They thought,
hate
like,
crime.
They thought his like Baker skateboard was like
That's
some sort of dig on the principal.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they opened that floodgate to
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
Because then it became a bit where everybody would buy Baker skateboards then just as a fuck you to that guy.
I thought it was gonna be like a weed joke or something, like Principal Baker's baked again or some shit like that.
I would have loved to have seen him high. He was an old man with white hair who looked
Yeah.
like he wanted to be mayor of every town he's ever lived in.
That's
but
amazing.
Couldn't get there, so he became an elementary school principal.
Dude, the
Yeah.
principal of my high school was like kind of terrifying because she was like literally like she was like I think in like the Israeli military. And she was like a hard
fucking
ass.
sick, dude.
She-
No,
no,
you
she
had,
was,
you
like,
had like
terrifying.
Gal Gadot as your principal. Like,
No, yeah, like it was like she was like actually like a killer, like for real. It was crazy.
To every kid going to the principal's
Wait,
office,
yeah.
being,
what
how
is
many of
the-
you killed?
What is the like pipeline from going to like the Mossad to like a principal of a school? Like,
Because like, well, you know, you like America's very involved in like their military
Yeah,
and stuff. So
yeah.
you naturally might want to be like, yeah, I think I'll go to America and just kind of live out my life in this. I mean, tons of people move to the U.S.
Yeah.
for plenty of things. I don't know, but it kind of makes sense, like ideologically. Like, you know, like I was in the military here. The U.S. really values military people.
yeah, my
sort of.
principal at my high school at Oakview, the continuation high school, he was an ex-Navy guy. And he was like, he was basically the principal in South Park. Like he had the Oakley glasses and like the spiked hair, and he was just like jacked, and he would always just like insert himself into every situation that had nothing to do with him.
Yeah, it looks like Guy Fieri's counterpart.
Yeah, but he was also, it was kind of like South Park because he was like this very like hardcore military guy, but he was also like super woke at the same time. So it was like this weird kind of like he was like rough around the edges, but then he was like PC principal.
Hella progressive.
Yeah,
It reminds me of like Walter from The Big Lebowski. You seen The Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Big Lebowski.
You got to check it out. It's like that's not the preferred nomenclature, but then he's also like hard ass military guy. No, like I will say like I feel like there's a lot of, I mean that's the thing is like you run into a lot of people I think in this country where it's just like military people that just went to like regular ass jobs, and it's like you don't know that person might have just like fucking
annihilated a village.
I feel like that's why we have like that whole rumor that like Mr. Rogers was a sniper, and that's why he wears sweaters to cover up his tattoos and shit.
Is that true? Was
It's
that a
not.
real
It's
thing?
not real, but
Dude, that would be goated.
I think he might have been in the military, but he wasn't like a sniper
like
like that.
special ops or
No, yeah, he
something,
wasn't like that.
Dude, could you imagine just that calm voice as your
No,
village
yeah.
is being stormed? Howdy, neighbor.
Yeah.
You just have like John McCain like as your like morning TV show.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a principal in middle school whose name was Dr. Love, which was
Damn.
like a goated name for
Yeah.
a principal.
Remember Miss Gutzweiler?
Oh, yeah.
I hated her.
That's
Dude. I was
rough,
always
man.
in her fucking office, dude. Like,
That checks out.
yeah, dude. And then she I don't know. And then we had, well, I was in her office a lot. And then, remember Miss Woodley,
No.
the counselor? So we had this counselor who, was Miss Woodley in middle school. And you know, the actress, Shailene Woodley from
Yeah.
like Secret Life of American Teenager. And like,
Yeah.
so like that was her daughter.
Oh, dang.
So, because it's like right by LA, you
Yeah.
know, and so she never like helped me out. I would always come to her or like get sent to her office, and every time I was there, she would just talk about what TV show her daughter was on, and I was like, I like need help.
I need help.
Yeah, like I just like fought a kid who was bullying me. Like, can you help me? And
She's like, yeah, that's great, but my
She's
daughter
like-
just get booked on a Crest
Yeah,
commercial,
she's
and
like,
it's a really big deal.
She's like, my daughter might get an Emmy. I'm like, okay, but like,
Dude, her daughter is the worst thing that's ever. You see the movie Ferrari? Dude,
Ford
no.
versus Ferrari.
No, not Ford versus Ford. They made a Ferrari biopic, and like everybody's Italian in this movie, and then Shailene Woodley comes in as like a fake Italian French woman,
Oh,
and
geez.
just like
No.
any second she's in the movie, you're just taken out of
Oh,
this
that's
world
rough.
instantly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think she's gonna get a role after that one. That was too rough.
When was that movie made?
This has got to be like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Even less.
I feel like I remember it. It's vaguely familiar.
It was Michael Mann. It was goated. It's like
Yeah.
there's a great car crash in it. Everything's
dang.
badass.
I might have to check it out.
Everything's good but her. It's like
Yeah.
the worst part of the movie.
Yeah.
Dude, that was like a moment where it was like Secret Life of the American Teenager, and then like 16 and Pregnant, and then like Teen Mom.
Yeah.
I feel like they were like psyoping like our generation into like teen pregnancy. Like,
Yeah, we were probably low on the birth rate, and they were like, we gotta just
Yeah.
keep cranking out shows.
Yeah. Isn't there like a declining birth rate right now or
dude,
something
if you
like
want
that?
Time to bring it back.
save money on your taxes, they'll give you $5,000 for a kid.
If you just
Like
have
that's
a
like
kid.
a new thing. Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
work if you adopt a kid?
But doesn't it also cost more than $5,000 to have a kid?
Yeah,
though?
it
Like,
it
that's
doesn't
the
balance
problem.
out.
That's like a
That-
year of diapers.
That's not a
like,
profit.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a loss there,
Dude, I keep seeing these billboards though on every bus stop that's like adopt a teenager, and I'm like, at what
What?
age do you have to be to do this? Like, at what point is it creepy?
You just turn 18.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
adopt
like
a
if you're
I feel
18
like
and adopt a 13-year-old,
Right.
that can't be good.
Yeah. I feel like even at 31, I would not have, like that's
It's not gonna
I would not know how
happen.
to like raise a teenager, you know, like let alone a kid of any kind. I will say I'm very happy to be an uncle. Like I don't think I want to be a father, But I've got lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm very happy.
Uncle's got to be the coolest feeling.
Uncle is fantastic because you just don't have to deal with any bullshit, and you get to have fun with the kids, and it's not like, like it's cool.
And you get to be the cool uncle who shows them cool shit, teaches them how to play
You're
guitar.
never the one
and,
to like get them in trouble or scold them. You teach them valuable lessons without being harsh. It's kind of awesome. It's kind of the
you
best
can be like my
position.
uncle and like give me fucking mushrooms and shit.
Yeah,
Like one time
I don't think I'll be doing that.
Like my uncle, dude, I bought.
They got a couple years left.
it might take a while.
Like I bought some mushrooms and he's like, come over to my house right now. We got to make sure you didn't get ripped off. And he pulls out this fucking scale and he's like weighing
Actually,
it.
that's awesome. Though.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
no,
That's
I
cool
know,
uncle
I know.
status again.
I
Yeah.
know. And then like, and yeah, I mean, you know, my uncle, like you guys have been to his place, like gives me a lot of weed and shit. I mean, shout out my uncle. Like we were gonna do the show, but so I thought he was gonna be able to do the show because he leaves on Monday, but I thought he left next week.
Okay.
So I thought he had more time, but he just like
We'll do it another time
Yeah.
for sure.
You got to get your uncle on the
I know.
pod,
No, we're
dude.
going to.
That's
we're
a
going
goated
to.
guest.
That's a necessary episode
For sure.
or at least episode. Hopefully more than that, but.
I
Yeah.
still feel bad when we smoked all his weed that one time and took all the Adderall.
Dude, he took his house keys away from me.
Yeah, that was bad,
My uncle
dude.
had like because he gets all his weed from NorCal, and it's like it's just like this outdoor, like it's really good shit, but it's not like dispensary stuff where it's like way too strong. It's just like really solid outdoor weed. And he had like 4 or 5 ounces at his place, and Grant and I were there, and we were, dude, that was like, I remember like New Year's Eve, like during COVID, we were like crushing up his Adderall and just like doing lines of Adderall.
Jesus,
we were so dirty that
that's
whole era.
wild.
We were like doing lines of Adderall and just like smoking all of his weed. And then he came back and he texted me in all caps. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like,
That's crazy.
You guys somehow-
Was there any Adderall left? Did you do it
yeah,
all?
no, we didn't do all his Adderall.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, we didn't do all his Adderall. But we
As someone with ADHD, I appreciate that you do not use all of his Adderall.
No, it was much more of just like a stoner moment than a like bender. But yeah. And then we went to that. What rave was that? We went to that was back when I was working in the techno scene. We went to it was like a big one because it was New Year's Eve.
It was the one where the person who did the music for The Matrix was at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
That's cool.
That was actually pretty tight.
That
sounds
sick.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you came with me to a rave one time. We went to this rave that was like on like the 5th floor of a building.
Yeah.
So like you get in and there's like the smoking section like in the alley, and there's just like dirty ass water and shit. And then you go upstairs and then as we're climbing up the stairs, there's like people like passed out on like Molly and shit. Like,
yeah, dude, the stairs
that
were
was
just
crazy.
crowded.
That was nuts.
It looked like New York in the 60s. Everybody was hunched over in the fucking hallway.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, that was a dirty one.
Yeah. The coolest rave was that one that was at like the prop house.
That was super
That was sick. That was
Yeah.
super sick. I think that was also the guy from that did the Matrix.
I think it was too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was Marcel Detman.
Yeah.
Because Marcel Detman did a couple songs from the Matrix soundtrack. Yeah, it was Marcel Detman, and it was in this like prop house, and so that was pretty sick. I mean, I was like working the event though, so I didn't get to like fully rave. But you had a good time.
But there was like a side room that just had like all these props and signs and crazy shit, and it felt like you were in some weird wax museum
That
come
sounds
to
super
life.
cool.
It was
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
rad.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. Like I like when there's like not only a visual element, but like you can walk up close and like through it and
Yeah.
stuff. I love shit like
There's
that.
like a solid theme going on. that they're doing.
Yeah.
Dude, the fun one was the weed haunted house on Halloween.
Dude, that wasn't even a rave, dude.
That wasn't even a rave, but it took me back.
Dude, that was so insane. Like,
Dude, okay, this is like at a time when Pat's taking a tea break, and so
Yeah.
it's Halloween. We're in downtown. We're walking around, and we see this building with these people lined up, and we're with my homie David, who just gets us into whatever is
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
And so he finagled some fake password to somebody and got us in. And as soon as we walk in, there's these people with leaf blowers just filled with weed, just gassing everybody in this haunted
Yeah,
That's
house.
amazing.
yeah.
And you'd go into rooms and you'd like have a code, and then it was like in the middle of COVID, so they'd have these gravity bongs, but then some guy would blow the smoke at you wherever you were at. It was so bizarre.
Sounds like a hotbox haunted house type of thing.
It totally
No,
was.
it was and they were like blasting music in the parking lot, like it was like in the arts district.
That sounds super interesting.
And then I got like paranoid. I was like,
Yeah,
dude,
you had to leave, dude.
Yeah,
you had
I
to
was
get
like,
out of there.
I was like, can I have a cigarette? It's just like
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, like
It was almost too gnarly.
yeah, that was bizarre too. Like I haven't seen anything like that since.
I'm
Like,
still not convinced it existed.
No,
I think it was
that
just a bunch of people
that
took
was
over a
like
place.
a glitch in the Matrix. Like yeah.
Oh,
that
I mean,
was-
there's plenty of stuff that happens in downtown where it's like, no one's using this building. Let's just do this event here.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it, you know?
yeah.
We're just gonna take it over. From
No,
tonight.
you don't got to tell. I've seen my fair share of shit. Like,
Yeah.
like I remember I was working at a rave one time. No, I wasn't working at it. I was just going because I was working in the scene, but I wasn't that particular night. I wasn't working, and we were at this warehouse, and the cops came and shut it down, and the guy running the event like distracted the cops and at the same time turned around and was like, get everything out of here right now and go to plan B. And then we just went to another warehouse like a few blocks away. And then it was kind of cool because like by that time it was probably like 3 a.m. and all the people who like really wanted to be there were there. So then the
Yeah.
party was actually even crazier.
Oh, that's
because it was
actually
like
awesome.
all,
yeah.
it was kind of like a filter,
Yeah.
you know, like,
So wait, you like move everything, set it up real quick again, and just start
they
going?
they at the time they had like, and I think they still do this, but they had like they always had like a plan B warehouse, like
Yeah.
just in case, because
Yeah.
they do get shut down.
That's kind of smart. Like, yeah.
yeah.
How does it get shut down? Do the cops just roll up
Well,
and raid it? Or?
It gets shut down usually because just of how loud it is. Because it's like you've been there where it's
Yeah.
like the fucking sheet metal is.
But
like,
do like the cop? Is it like a train of cops coming in and going up the stairs?
no,
or like, what is
it'll
the...
usually just be like two cops, like 2 cop cars will come and they're like, hey, like we know this is an illegal party, but it's also like it's in downtown, so there's people like overdosing on
Yeah.
fentanyl like down the block, so it's not as big of a deal. But
Yeah.
it's like just stop doing this, and then they usually like don't like issue citations. They just kind of say you need to stop doing this. But where they technically like the technicality, it's like if you get a cop who's like a dick, they can come into the party and see, oh, they're selling alcohol. Oh, there's people doing drugs here. Like
Yeah.
there's X, Y, and Z reasons why we could, you know, really. And then
Right.
like
It's just if they decide it's worth their time at that moment.
and then like it kind of goes through like phases where sometimes they'll get shut down more than others because like certain promoters, there'll be like fights that happen at their raves. And so like if there's a fight or if someone gets like attacked or something, or if there's just if the security isn't screening people, like it'll get shut down. And then like for the next like 2 months, like every rave will get shut down because they have to like make the city look good, you know? And then they kind of forget about it and just the cycle keeps
Yeah.
going. But
Well, that's the thing is they don't have to crack down on every rave. They only have to crack down on the raves that like make them look bad.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
caused some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the craziest fight you've ever seen go down?
I was just kind of chilling because you know how there's always like that outside section where you can just kind of like talk to people,
Yeah.
which like oddly enough, I always would just hang out there. I'd never actually be in the rave.
Yeah.
I'd always just be like networking with people outside and just like smoking joints and shit. But I was just like chilling, talking to some people, and then I turn around and someone hopped the fence. Like someone, I guess, like knew that like their op or whatever, like someone that they'd had beef with was like at this rave, but they were not at the rave. So they like hopped the fence and like started beating their ass.
No
Like,
shit.
that was crazy. Like
Does anybody break it up, or is it everybody
no,
just kind of being like, I don't want to take part in
It'll
this?
be that was a brawl for probably like 30 seconds, and then it got broken up because they usually have security.
Yeah.
You know, and the security's not like they're not fucking around. Like they can't fuck around. Like I've been to raves where they have like full on fucking rifles at the door.
That's gnarly.
You know, I was at a rave one time where they hired like the Crips to fucking defend the rave. Like,
You know, it's not a good setup.
I
when
don't know.
you're just
Like that's like that might be like some pretty solid like
That's some
defense
protection
in
right
LA.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like-
like that's kind of wild.
but then you get extorted because it's
Right,
like
yeah.
you heard about the
Yeah,
big U
dude.
indictment.
you don't want to be like involved with that because now
Because
you're
then you get
yeah.
extorted. Because what happens is then you get robbed, and then they not only rob you, but then they charge you money to buy back
get
what
back,
they stole from
yeah.
you.
Damn.
You know,
Yeah.
because that was happening with Big U, where they would go to these illegal dispensaries and they would find weed shops that were operating without a license, and then they would send in people to pretend to buy weed to like scope it out. And then they would say, okay, well, this place is clearly not legit, so like we can extort them. So then they would go in and steal everything from the shop and then charge the person who owned it to buy all of it back at like triple the value.
Dang.
And then on top of that, they would say, now you need protection, because they didn't tell them it was the same people who, like they would pretend that it was like someone else that robbed them. And so then they would say, now you need protection. You need to pay us $50,000 a month for protection. And then they would just keep robbing them.
They should go full Italian mafia with it.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's savage.
Dude, I when I was driving to Coachella with my family, I made them listen to the 3-hour Big U indictment in full. I found like the feds dropped the paperwork, and I found a video where someone's just reading the entire indictment.
God.
And I'm like, Grandma, like you need to know what's happening in your city right now. Like,
I love that your grandma knows more about Big U than me at this point, dude.
yeah.
That's amazing. Dude, that reminds me, this is kind of a tangent, but that reminds me of this YouTube video that I found that was fucking insane, and I fell asleep to it. It was a recording and like a transliteration, like it showed like the text. But it was a recording of all the like telegram messages to and from the Titanic while it was sinking in real time.
Oh, that's cool.
It was crazy. And I was like falling asleep watching it go down, and it's kind of terrifying.
What are
It's
they
gotta be
saying?
so
It's-
dark.
They're saying
it's
stuff
like there's
like
an iceberg, we need help.
no,
Like,
yeah, literally. And then there's like one ship that's like the like Frankfurt or something that's like they keep asking like what's going on over there, and like they keep being like SOS help, we need help. There's other ships that are on the way, and they're like Titanic, what do you need? And it's just like it's crazy. You got to watch this video. It's absolutely wild, dude.
Dude, that is next level. That's
Yeah.
gotta be terrifying.
It is for sure. I feel like that's more terrifying to me than like the like simulated videos of it going up and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No, that's like the black box tapes of the Titanic.
because like you can
What's
tell, like
going on?
you can tell, like the guy sending the messages just gets more and more frantic, and like actually, like the guy who was like sending that messages went down with the ship, so he actually was like there till the last
go
second.
down with the ship?
No, there were
There
plenty
were
of
some
people who got out.
survivors
Yeah,
for sure.
There are people who got out,
Dude,
but
you
like,
know what's crazy? My great grandma, who she passed away during COVID, but she lived to be 104. She remembered the Titanic.
oh yeah,
Like she was like, I remember when that happened.
no, yeah. There's people. I mean,
Yeah.
probably very few people now, but like there's
Yeah.
people who. I mean, like a lot of those things didn't happen that long ago.
Yeah.
you know?
Like my grandpa used to tell me when he was a kid, he remembered listening on the radio when they announced World War II was starting.
Oh yeah.
That's gotta be the biggest trip ever.
Yeah.
Dude, another crazy story. My grandpa on my dad's side, because my dad's whole side of the family is from like Santa Monica, like Brentwood area. And my grandpa, when he was a kid, around that same time in the 30s, there was a gangster named Mickey Cohen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know about Mickey Cohen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like one of the OG like old school mobsters.
Like from prohibition type stuff,
yeah,
right? Yeah, like
yeah.
running alcohol and stuff.
Yeah, like a bootlegger, but also
Yeah.
like not Al Capone level, but like doing similar things,
Right.
you know. And my grandpa, this was in Brentwood. My grandpa lived next to him, and his house exploded because there was a drug lab in the house.
Damn.
And then it got raided by the feds. My grandpa would tell me when he was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, he remembers like so many police cars on his street that it was like ridiculous.
That's wild, man.
Dude, you've got like the Forrest Gump of history.
Yeah,
in your
for real.
family line.
Your family, yeah,
Yeah.
just happened to be there for every major event.
Like my step cousin's John Hinckley Jr. tried to take another guy out.
Yeah. Yeah, my
Dude,
granddad killed John
we
Lennon.
should sample his music, bro. Like,
Dude, John Hinckley Jr.'s
we
got
should,
fire
we
music.
should stem split his music and like sample it, bro. Like,
Wait, what is his music?
It's so good.
I've
he's
heard
got
it.
he's got a couple he goes on tour now. He plays.
Oh,
He's
yeah?
out.
That's so
he's like
sick,
yeah.
dude.
He's got a crowd, but it's like
Dang.
folk music of like he's got a song called Never Ending Quest that is just like I am on a never ending quest. And you're like
to kill the president.
you're like I don't know what that quest is, but you should
Yeah.
stop it.
Maybe it should end at some point.
yeah.
Somebody's got to call this at a certain point.
Yeah. Jeez.
No,
Man.
he's goated, dude. Manson has great music. There's a couple heads who
Yeah,
just
a couple guts.
that also reminds me of
R.I.P.
Phil
the
Spector.
Unabomber, bro.
Yeah.
Like, R.I.P. the goat, dude.
the goats, dude. Unabomber didn't have great music.
Yeah,
He sold
Had
out.
a great manifesto.
What's your Mount Rushmore, bro?
of goats, dude?
goats, dude.
Oh, dude, it's got to be Manson at the
Manson,
top, dude.
okay.
Manson's the goat, dude.
Yeah.
Manson is truly the GOAT because it's like we still never know whether or not he was a CIA op or not. And
Yeah.
like whatever he was able to accomplish.
You got to put Kaczynski up there.
Kaczynski's up there for sure,
Yeah.
dude. Hinckley gets a fair shout out just because of the Jodie Foster connect. Like if you
Yeah.
kill the president because you're trying to impress Jodie Foster,
Yeah.
that's goated.
Yeah.
Although I guess there was that whole fucking beef where like he had dinner with the Bush family like right before he did it, and so who knows what the real story is behind that. But even for a Jodie Foster reference, I'm like,
Yeah.
he's goated.
Yeah.
Osho is goated, dude.
Yeah.
Osho's up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Bhagwan, dude.
I'm not as tapped into the true crime, all that stuff.
goats.
I don't know that stuff.
The goats of the,
The
fucking
goats of
the goats of the MK Ultra world.
yeah. You guys are dropping names that I am not familiar with.
They had a good dude. The MK Ultra Mount Rushmore
They had
they had a
good
pretty
run,
solid
dude.
run, dude.
Yeah. They had a good run.
Manson, dude. You had the fucking Kennedy guy.
Yeah.
Were they? Well,
Lee
they weren't
Harvey
involved
Oswald.
in like the what was that whole thing about like the experimenting with LSD thing?
That's MK
That's the
Ultra.
same?
That's
Okay.
dude. There's a great book called Chaos by this guy Tom O'Neill.
Yeah.
That like he really breaks down a pretty valuable argument. That's like Manson grew up in kind of like a boys' home in and out of prison.
Yeah.
And so he would keep getting arrested for these crimes and breaking parole and whatever's going on, and then they would just let him out of jail. And so this
Jeez.
guy was writing an article just on like, a reunion. There was like an anniversary for the Manson family, and they told him
Yeah.
just write an article for the magazine. And then he started really looking into it, and he's like, how does this guy keep getting out of jail? And then that took him to like the Haight Ashbury clinic where he would go with all these different women. And so one of the guys working at that Haight Ashbury clinic that was working with Manson was this guy, Jolly West, who was a part of the MK Ultra program with Sidney
First
Gottlieb.
name
that
Jolly
ran
is
it.
crazy.
I think it's John, and like
Oh,
they
yeah.
give
Well,
him
back
a little.
then they would do that,
They would
yeah.
call
Yeah.
him Jolly.
Yeah.
But Jolly West is the last guy to go see Jack Ruby after he killed Lee Harvey Oswald, and so this guy Jolly West goes into the room, and Jack Ruby's there, and when he walks out of the room, Jack Ruby's under the table just screaming about the Jews and all this crazy
Oh my
shit,
God.
and there's
Jesus.
elephants in the room. And so like this guy clearly just dosed him with a heavy hit of
Yeah.
acid that he never got out of. And so that's the same guy working with Manson. And so there's this weird kind of cohesive connection of like maybe he was CIA, maybe not. Maybe it was all a ploy to end the 60s and the free love anti-war movement, and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely. I will say like, as far as I understand history, there was definitely an incentive for the government to like crack down on hippies and stuff.
100%,
Like they were
yeah.
like, no, we can't be doing.
And we
this.
know they
Yeah.
did that at UCLA with the Black Panthers and throwing
Oh, yeah.
them under the bus. They would
For sure.
start infighting within the crew and get them
Yeah.
to kill
Well,
each
dude,
other.
I listened to this thing about how like the undercover feds work, and it's like there's anything. There's always undercover feds. Like
Yeah.
it's because he was talking about how they would infiltrate these like hate groups and
Yeah.
and like basically. He's like, well, we can't call it entrapment, but it's like basically entrapment.
But like we
Yeah.
walked them into committing a crime and
Yeah.
got them
Yeah.
to do it and then
Yeah.
arrested them.
But
Yeah.
see, the crazy thing is like back then they had their ways of doing it, but now it's all on like Discord and like it's
Oh, for
all
sure.
it's all like online, you know.
Yeah.
well, that was the whole Gretchen Whitmer thing when they were
Yeah.
trying to abduct
Yeah.
the governor. And yeah,
Yeah.
like it was something like 10
But
out of 12 people
what
were
are
agents.
these Discord servers that people are on? Like, I don't even use Discord. Like, like, are people just going on Discord and being like, let me find like people who are spewing hate and just link up with them?
It's
Like,
kind of crazy. Like I don't use Discord much, but I used to use it just for like gaming and stuff and my friends. What it was originally made for. But I've definitely seen like just online, like people will take screenshots of some of these communities, and it's like there are people who just end up finding the same like-minded like psychopaths
for
and
sure.
and
Dude, I
seriously
feel
just
like
make
my
a group like
relative
that. Yeah.
who killed Garfield would today.
He'd be on a
He
Discord
would be on
group.
Discord.
He'd
yeah.
be moderating so many great forums.
He'd
Yeah,
be
yeah,
on
yeah.
like 8kun. Dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's the thing, dude. It's like the 4chan drip into Discord.
Yeah.
Like there was a
Yeah.
clean sweep over to
Well,
get those
I
people.
feel like it dripped into so many like different online platforms,
Oh,
and I
I'm
feel
sure.
like so many of
But,
them
like,
are probably
what's
now
the-
on Twitter.
is
you
the
know?
point to just like talk to people that also hate what you hate? Like,
I think it is that
if you're
simple.
like a
to be
normal
honest.
Discord person, you're talking about like what the Legend of Zelda and like video games.
No, yeah,
like,
you're just talking about like what happened
yeah.
in
But
your
if
day
you're
and
like
stuff.
if you're like an incel, you're like
Oh no, they're like feeding each other. They're like
Yeah.
they're making each other more incel.
they're just
as
writing
they
like
go.
manifestos.
Dude,
like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, if somebody sends you 3 memes about being a Nazi, and now like you've ended up in that, now you're gonna create a meme about being a Nazi, and that's gonna get 10 likes, and now
Right.
you've
It's like
built
an
up
echo
this
chamber,
reward
yeah.
system.
And if
Yeah.
you like go into it thinking, oh, it's just ironic, it's not
Yeah.
real, but
It's
then like
fun.
eventually, no, it does
you
kind
start
of
going, what is the shape of a
Yeah.
skull?
It
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that I never went down a path like that, because I feel like for a lot of like men who are like kind of younger and have been growing up in the last like I don't know 20 years, like it's a lot for a lot of them. It's very easy to find themselves.
well, it's
there.
easy if you're in like if there's nothing around you, like if you're isolated and
For
you
sure.
know, you just get radicalized. I mean, that's how you get people that are joining ISIS, like you
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
without ever having met someone that's in ISIS.
Like people who are from Montana who are like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm so glad you say that, because I've totally had that thought too, where I'm like,
Right.
I'm like 3 bad Reddit posts away from just
for
being
sure.
a hardcore conservative, just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
full Candace Owens.
Yeah, like you got to be like pretty like cognizant of like what's happening to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna go down that route.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Like,
let's
yeah.
not
let's
explore
not
that
do that.
territory.
Yeah.
I feel like I got a good head on my shoulders. I don't know, you know, like I think a lot of that stuff. You look at it and it's just like, man, it just looks so ugly and distasteful.
Yeah.
It's hard
Well,
to
and then
even.
have you ever seen the footage of like Discord mods getting arrested and like raided by
No.
the feds? And then there's one clip where it's like the body cam footage, and they knock on the door, and the mom opens the door, and she's like, "Dylan, come downstairs. The police want to talk to you."
Oh man,
And then he comes downstairs, and he just looks exactly like you would think.
I mean that's the crazy
He
thing.
has
is
like
you-
cum stains all over his shirt and shit.
No, that's the crazy thing is that you get a lot of these like super radical like people who are spreading absolutely crazy hateful stuff, and like they're like 14-year-olds
Yeah.
in like their room.
They're either 14 or like 45.
Yeah, there's no in between.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're like a working person in your 20s or 30s, you don't have time for
No.
that shit. You know, you gotta go to work. You know.
Well, dude, we just had one in Ventura not that long, like maybe 2 weeks ago, where it was this kid who runs like the Ventura County meme page. And
Yeah.
so he went around Ventura spray painting swastikas on all the buildings and then
Jesus.
taking photos of it
Yeah.
and going, look how much hate has come into this community.
God.
Being that kind of guy. And so they caught him because like they found him riding a scooter with a backpack on with all this spray paint in it.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's clearly you. They charged him with a hate crime.
Yeah, because you
I mean,
can't just
because
you
that's
can't
kind
just-
of what he did. Yeah.
But
like,
what's crazy is like we were talking on the phone, and like you were just kind of like halfway bullshitting, halfway serious of like this is gonna happen. He was telling me, and then it happened.
Yeah.
He like predicted the future.
The ultimate
like,
extent of that is going to be like in the next couple of months, there's going to be a hardcore Dem family with the sign in the front of the yard that says, "We love Muslims, Christians, you know, everybody
In
the,
this
the
house,
multiple color
da-da-da-da-da,
in this
yeah.
house."
Yeah.
But in their basement is going to be a Hispanic family that they've put in because they're so worried they're going to get taken by ICE that they've just turned the
they've
family into
put them in
prisoners.
ice, like-
Like they're gonna think they're doing the Anne Frank thing, but really they're just doing exactly what they're like.
That's crazy,
This can't
yeah.
happen. I'm like, give it 3 months, dude. We got the swastika guy. That's the next one up.
Yeah, I the pattern is just people who like think that you know what it is, and that's what the undercover Fed was talking about in this thing that I was listening to, is that like a lot of the people that fall into this stuff are usually like really into Lord of the Rings or like fantasy stuff, and it becomes this like good versus evil
Oh, yeah.
mindset, and then they do these like extreme like fucked up things because in their mind they're so far gone that they think they're doing good.
Yeah.
So it's like how I told you, like, because I remember when someone bombed the Planned Parenthood
Yeah.
in TO. So it's like, to get to that point of like you're bombing a Planned Parenthood, it's like you're fighting the good fight.
No, yeah, people,
God's on your side.
when you're that insane.
yeah, people
Like,
who are
you know.
doing that stuff truly, deeply believe that like if they don't do it, that
Dude,
the world is fucked
someone's
or
gonna
something.
like cancel me and like clip this, and it's just me saying like
Like
when
out
you
of
bomb
context.
Planned Parenthood.
When you bomb a Planned Parenthood, you're fighting like.
Yeah, it'd be very easy to slice the thing up and make a really scathing clip of you.
Well, dude, that was kind of the whole QAnon thing for a while. Was like we're fighting this
Where we
lineage
go
of
one, we
evil,
go all.
We're fighting a lineage of evil pedophiles, and everybody
Yeah.
wants to be on that side. And so it
Yeah.
became. I'm surprised that didn't end. Like, sure, it ended in January 6th, but that kind of seemed like a role playing bit. I'm surprised QAnon didn't end in like we're going to assassinate the entire Clinton family or something.
Well, people were stealing. Someone stole Pelosi's laptop, and like that guy like was on her desk taking pictures, and like they did like little things like that.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Was
like,
that before or after her husband got hit with the hammer?
That was before because it was January 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that my birthday's on January 6th.
No,
It
that's
sucks.
the
It's
most
got weird
goated,
rep now.
That's the most goated birthday of all
Yeah,
time.
next to
dude.
9/11, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta like get married on 9/11.
Yeah, there you go.
Like my birthday is
Yeah.
on January 6th, and
My anniversary's
my
on 9/11.
anniversary's on 9/11.
Have a couple kids
They'll
on
be like,
420.
what anniversary are you talking about? Yeah.
Dude, that is legendary American heritage.
But yeah, it's always people who like believe in like 9 times out of 10 it's people who are like really into like fantasy stuff, and they just don't have any social life, and then they just get radicalized because all they're doing is talking to people who agree with like the insane things that they're thinking.
I think it's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking about the world as good and evil. You know? There are definitely bad people out
everything is
there,
nuance.
but
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not that simple. You know?
Well, that was the spookiest thing. Did you watch the Channel 5 documentary they did for HBO?
No.
This Place Rules.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
you saw the QAnon family where these kids were just like...
and well, it's interesting because they interview the son, and they're basically interviewing the dad. 'Cause
Yeah.
all he's doing is just repeating whatever his dad's telling him.
And so you have
That's
this kid
crazy.
who's maybe like 7 being like, yeah, you know, the Hillary Clinton eats babies and this is the situation she found
Yeah.
herself in.
That's the thing that I think is sad, man. Like, that's a kid, dude. Like,
Dude, but you know what happened in Santa Barbara is there was that guy who he murder-suicided I think he just killed his family. I don't think he killed
Yeah.
himself, but he was really into QAnon, and he was convinced that his children had serpent DNA.
yeah, because of the
Jeez.
vaccine,
Yeah,
dude.
and he owned like a surf shop. He was like he was like a chill like surfer bro, and then
Yeah.
he got like completely radicalized by QAnon.
it's just wild to me, some of the things that people like genuinely actually believe. Like, I almost can't even conceptualize having a brain that truly believes that there's like
No,
reptilians. You
yeah,
know what
but
I mean?
I've met people like I had a client one time when I was working for the studios that I had legal discourse with. There was a client that he literally wasted the entire session. He booked like 3 hours, and he spent 3 hours talking to me about how Baphomet the demon controls the music industry, and how like Jay-Z and Beyonce are like sacrificing children. And
Jeez.
Well,
like-
look, dude, I'm not trying to be that guy, but he was on to some shit. Like, I mean, take it for what you will.
And then
I'm
he
like-
started crying, and I was like, I can't. Like, he
Yeah.
just had like he basically just had like a mental breakdown in front of me. Like, yeah.
I mean, dude, there's some shit going on for sure. There's like, because there's a
Well,
certain
Diddy
level
trial
of,
starts
The
in
thing
May.
is, like, there's stuff going on, but I feel like it's so much more mundane than the conspiracy theorists want it to be. You know, like I feel like they almost just want to have fun with it, but the truth is just like, yeah, there's fucked up stuff happening, but it's not as wild as like they're eating babies.
like,
bad people.
in this country specifically, like people are so retarded that they can only think in terms of movies. So like everything has to be a movie, and it's like everything has to be like a movie scene. Like where it's you can't just have someone who's powerful and coercing people into doing things against their will. It's like it has to be like a cult, like eyes wide shut kind of thing.
Dude,
Like,
but what doesn't help the case is like Bohemian Grove shit where they're sacrificing a baby to an owl and then lighting it on fire. And
Well,
sure, it's a straw baby, but it's like, what are you fucking doing
fuels,
that for?
But that fuels the, like, for the shit that's more nuanced, it like fuels that, you know, like.
For sure, but why are you doing that? Like, what is that's got to be some old satanic ritual of like power and, you know, culmination.
It's called keeping it real, bro. Like, you got to keep it real, dude.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
Yeah, you're actually behind because you don't have any satanic powers, man. You're yesterday's news. You know, if you're not communing with Baphomet every night.
Yeah.
You know? Come on, man.
And dude, that's the thing. It's like there's probably a level of like it's just power and corruption and all of these things. But then you see some of these portraits that these people have in their homes, and you're like, "What the fuck is that?"
The weirdest one is how Epstein had that portrait of Bill Clinton in the dress, like laying down.
Yeah, that's a move.
That's the weirdest. That still doesn't make sense to me.
That's weird, dude. The whole Maria Ambrovich thing of like her doing the whole soul dinner and all these rich people are at the party and they're all drinking blood together. And you're like, dude, this doesn't help any paranoia that the country's going through.
I mean, I feel like the thing is like we underestimate the fact that people are just fucking weird. Like so many people do things that are like wildly out of the norm of what you would expect.
Pocket, yeah.
And the thing is like they can be weird and not harmful to others, and they can be weird and extremely harmful to others. And like, until you dig underneath the weirdness and actually look for yourself, you know, you don't know. It's like the Schrodinger's cat thing, you know. Are they scary or weird, or are they just
exactly,
like funky kind of weird?
Yeah,
you know? Like,
I remember when I was in college, I lived in this like apartment complex across the street from my school, and I was walking to class one day. It was like 8 a.m. And I walked by this guy's place that was like only a few units from mine. And he had all the windows open and everything, and there was nothing in his apartment. The only thing in his apartment is just like a 1-bedroom apartment in fucking Florida, right? And he had taken a, a carousel?
Yeah.
There's like it's like the horse and it's like the pole and it's like attached to the thing. He had like removed one of those from a carousel, and that was just installed in the middle of his living room, and that was the only thing in his place. And it's like, what the fuck is that guy doing? Like,
dude, kind of sick.
I mean,
but it's
I feel
also
like people
is
just
that
have
harmless or like dangerous?
I mean, that's the thing is like people have really wild ideas about aesthetics. You know, like there's tons of stuff that fly all over the place that are completely harmless, but then there's stuff, and that's what I feel like I'm getting at too, is like so often it's also just the very mundane that is horrifying. You know, like it's not the guy with the single merry-go-round horse in his house. It's the guy who has like a homestead and is like, you know, growing like plants and stuff, and you know he has like a nice little home and everything, but there's people in his basement.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
there's like
a stockpile of guns,
right, or something like that.
Here's another crazy family story. Okay, so remember when you would come to my house when we were kids, and I remember when I had a cat, or do you not remember my cat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my cat Shadow.
Yeah.
So have I told you about my cat?
No.
You don't know the story? Okay, so I had a cat growing up, and my mom, she's just retiring this year actually, but she is a teacher, elementary school teacher. And one of her students at the time was the daughter of Anthony Pellicano. And do you know who Pellicano is?
No.
You know who what's his name? That he's just a completely insane actor.
Gary Busey?
Well, no,
Mel Gibson.
No, Mel
Just
Gibson.
name crazy
Mel Gibson's
people.
the goat, dude. Don't slander Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson is not the GOAT.
Have you seen Apocalypto? Because
That is a good movie.
That movie is goated. He maybe is not the goat.
What's that fucking actor's name? Anyways,
Jared Leto.
No, Steven Seagal, bro. So Pellicano, Anthony Pellicano was Steven Seagal's fixer.
Oh my god.
So Pellicano was he lived in Agora, and he was Steven Seagal's fixer, and like in the 90s a bunch of people like Chris Rock and like a couple other like, you know, actors and just Hollywood people. And he ended up going to federal prison for like 20 years, and he just got out because this must have been like 03, 04, maybe 05, but like he literally like just got out of prison. And he got sent to federal prison because he was stockpiling a bunch of guns, like fully automatic, like completely illegal guns. He had a bunch of grenades. He was wiretapping people. He was wiretapping celebrities. And he just had a bunch of like illegal surveillance equipment and just doing like going out on missions for fucking Steven Seagal. Like,
Damn.
well, first of all, like what
is a mission for him?
But when he went to federal prison, my mom was teaching his daughter, and a lot of the stuff got repossessed by the government or like taken away and just for evidence and just completely like removed from their lives. And one of those was the cat. And so we took his cat. And so the cat that I had growing up was Anthony Pelicano's cat.
Holy shit.
Shadow. Yeah. And Pelicano, the lore goes deep with him because he got arrested a couple times for like petty crimes. Well, not really. I mean, it's kind of petty, but it's also like really fucked up. But like those kind of led to like an actual investigation, and then they found all these weapons and shit. But one of the things that he did was he went to. There was a person who was working for the Hollywood Reporter, and they wrote an article about Steven Seagal that Steven Seagal didn't like, and so he tracked the woman down and found her car and wrote in blood on her car like "stop." And then he put a dead fish with roses in its mouth, like on her windshield.
Holy
like,
shit!
Oh my fucking
And he would just
God.
do like intimidation stuff like that, you know. Like,
That's good. That's a goated move. The fucking
wild.
flowers in the fish is a move.
and I think he also got in trouble for like wire fraud and like embezzlement and stuff. But yeah, I had his cat growing up.
I'm just picturing you with the cat just saying random phrases to like activate it to where it just wakes up and starts attacking
the
everybody.
cat's not even a cat. It's like a robot.
It's a robot. Yeah,
It's literally a ticking
got like
time
recording
bomb.
device inside.
Dude, there is a thing with like celebrity fixers like that though. Like I will go on, allegedly my uncle builds boats, and so recently
this is a great story.
Recently he was in Mexico, and while he was there, somebody threw a Molotov cocktail
Holy shit.
into his airport hangar that like his whole business is ran out of, and everything catches on fire. And so immediately he calls my dad and he's like, Guy Fieri burned down my fucking airport hangar. And so I call my uncle to get the story, and it was like all allegedly it was like Guy Fieri asked him to build a boat. They didn't sign a contract right away. My uncle put a bunch of money into it and then goes, hey, it's been 30 grand now, you got to pay me. And Guy Fieri freaks out and is like, fuck you, I'm not paying that money. And so allegedly Guy Fieri has all these fixers, and they all have these weird names like Dirt and like, Flame and shit. They all
Just
have
called, like,
matching tattoos.
The Flavor Boys with a Z. Like,
There's a fucking gang. And so like
Do they all wear like big like bowling shirts with flames on them?
and they all have the sunglasses.
Yeah.
and, like,
Flamers.
Frost tips and stuff. Yeah.
Dude, but I'm like, there is something about
No,
the
people have
celebrity
fixers.
fixer who
Yeah,
just
that's
like
crazy.
somebody
How
screws you over, you burn their shit to
crazy.
the ground.
like how do you become a fixer? Like do you have to be like an ex-con and like
Yeah.
you kind of like have knowledge of how to like do?
Well, dude, it's got to be one of these things where you're friends with the guy, and then that person has beef with somebody.
Yeah, but that's
Guy Fieri goes out of town. That guy burns down whoever the enemy is without Guy Fieri's knowledge, and then you go back to Guy, and you're like, "Hey, I just fucking helped you out, dude," and now all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're in the pocket and you got a fixer.
But I think the only way you can become somebody like that is like, okay, it's like you have a connection to someone that is famous of sorts, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's got to be something like how you and I grew up where you have to like know the person. Like you got to either have like grown up on the same street as them, or like you know what I mean? Like you can't, I feel like if you're actually operating like that, you can't just meet someone and be like, hey, do you want to be my fixer? Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be kind of like a
I feel like there has to be like a deeper connection there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like your cousin or something.
Or
like,
it's the same way that like a undercover agent infiltrates a group where you start chill and you're just homies, and then you do something wild and you go, now you got to fucking pay me. Like now we're in this together.
Yeah.
we're all in this together.
That's P. Diddy's phone
Oh
ring, dude.
God.
If I go down, the whole squad goes down.
Yeah.
No, it's all blackmail, I'm sure. There's a level of just like you get dirt on somebody and that's the ultimate
It's all
Yeah, I feel like I would not want to cross a celebrity that's so powerful that like they would have like someone like that, you know, like because
that's not worth the gamble at the end of the day.
No,
the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Yeah.
It's
Damn.
getting pretty dark
I know
out.
I'm cold, man.
Yeah, I
We
was gonna say you want to get back in and work on some tracks. We're at almost 2 hours.
We're at almost 2. Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, we flooded it.
Yeah, I good thing this isn't the first episode of the podcast. Like,
No, yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, Jesus. Like, all right. Well, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button.
Like, subscribe.
And, if you made it this far, thank you very much. We appreciate you. And we'll be back next week. All right.
God bless.
Peace.
Godspeed.